Welcome in, Soccer Over There, live on a Monday night. We've got some stuff for you. Matchday 6 in Champions League, in Europa League coming up this week. We've got the World Cup qualifying set up for UEFA. There's a group of death, I think. There's a couple of really good groups, and Germany got the best luck they could possibly get because they got the sweetest draw of all the draws. We've got rumors. We've got Paul Pogba on the move, it sounds like. We've got a discussion about the offside rule. All kinds of different things. We're also leading up to MLS Cup playoffs tonight, 9:30 FS1, Seattle hosting Minnesota. We'll update you on last-minute news and updates there. We've got a Concacaf with John coming up later in the show. But we're going to start with a question.
Okay.
So ESPN did their ESPN FC 100, and they did, as part of this, the top 10 managers in the world. I'm going to run through the list, and I'm going to ask you which one feels the most out of place in their spot.
Okay, I'm writing them down.
Number 1, Jurgen Klopp.
Okay.
Number 2, Hansi Flick. Klopp was number 1 last year as well. Flick was not ranked last year. Number 3, Pep Guardiola.
Okay.
He was number 2 last year. Number 4, Gianpiero Gasperini of Atalanta. Not ranked the previous year. Number 5, Julian Nagelsmann of RB Leipzig. Not ranked previous year.
Okay.
Number 6, Marcelo Bielsa. Not ranked previous year. Number 7, Diego Simeone. Dropped 2 spots from 5th.
Okay. Right.
Number 8, Julian Lopetegui of Sevilla. Not ranked the previous year. Number 9, and they might want to change this, Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah.
Not ranked the previous year. They did have a pretty good season last year. You know, I wouldn't go full Valley Girl on it there.
Yeah.
But he might get fired before the year's out. Number 10, Carlo Ancelotti. He was ranked number 7 the previous year. Not just doing it, although I think you're going to, not just doing it on recent results, which one of those feels the most out of place?
The most out of place.
Either they are way too high, if you want to go they're way too low.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Let's see. I could see 1, 2, and 3. I can see that. I mean, I'm looking at Gasperini at 4, even though although I am adding what's going on this year.
What does that mean? Explain yourself.
I will.
No, well, okay. You talked about Gasperini, and I don't know if that was a positive or a negative towards Gasperini.
It's a debate. I'm debating Gasperini's place because of Atalanta's European form this year. Bielsa getting leads up into the Premier League. Is that worthy of him being at number 6 above Diego Simeone, Zinedine Zidane, and Lopetegui with what Lopetegui did in Europa League?
Are you thinking out loud essentially at this point?
I'm thinking out loud.
Okay, because I have no idea which direction you're going here.
Yeah, I'm thinking out loud at this point.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, for me, I would say that, yes, getting leads from the championship into the Premier League is worthy of notice, but I think that 6 might be a little too high, especially with Simeone, Lopetegui, Zidane behind him. I mean, we didn't see leads in the European theater last year. We didn't see them win a Europa League championship or compete for one. We didn't see them go into Champions League and do what Atletico Madrid did last year.
Does the best manager have to be somebody in the biggest place?
No. As the champion of the little guy, I'm probably one of the folks that would maintain that. But no, I think that Bielsa's top 10. I just think that probably Simeone and Lopetegui and Zidane would probably be above him. And Bielsa I would put Bielsa at number 9. So I would probably move Bielsa down to 9, move Simeone, Lopetegui, and Zidane up. Of course, I'm thinking about Gasperini also being at number 4. I might change him with Nagelsmann at 4 and 5. So I would move Gasperini down a little bit, move Bielsa down a little bit, move the other guys up a little bit.
You would move Zidane up?
Well, because you said, it wasn't just recency. It was what happened last year into this year. I'm cringing at Zidane at the moment. So, yeah.
Zidane's not on the list for me, first off. Zidane's not on the list because as a manager, he's got a ton of talent, and he's gotten a lot, and when I say a ton of talent, on his roster. He's gotten a lot out of a very talented roster. When things have gotten a little tough, it's shown a little bit. Zidane's not on my top 10.
Okay.
Ancelotti's not on my top 10. I don't think he's done enough at Everton to be in the top 10 at this point.
True.
Bielsa might be at the base of the top 10, but, I mean, even what he did in the championship, they had the talent to go up.
Yeah.
I mean, they played great. They have been always fun to watch. But they should have gone up.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he pulled a rabbit out of the hat by getting them promoted. He did it with style, and that's what's going to get him on here. But 6 feels a little high. Hansi Flick would be my number 1. Sorry, Liverpool fans. You could flip a coin, honestly. I think Flick gets it because of what he accomplished in the year and the way he was so dominant with Bayern. He gets it this year. Klopp's 2. Pep's 3. I think I might even be willing to drop him a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of the suggestions from the floor on the Twitch pitch. One, Bernd Dursberger says that Flick doesn't coach Bayern, Mueller does. Just good stuff. Ragamuffin questions Bielsa getting back in there with Leeds, and I do too. I just think 6 is high. Bernd throws Pioli, Gattuso, Jorge Jesus into the mix, Gallardo into the mix. If I'm going with any of the ones who worked mostly in South America last year, and I think you can tell where I'm going, it's Jorge Jesus. Yeah. Right. With what he did with Flamengo, winning Copa Libertadores, he would go there for me. So I'll put Jesus in my top 10. Ragamuffin asked about Ole. You know how I feel about Ole, but no, he's not in the top 10. Mourinho has been suggested by Sean. Don't have a problem with that. What he's done this year especially has been quite good. And I've got a question about Mourinho in just a second before we move into some other stuff. But I could move Mourinho into the top 10 because I'm going to drop Ancelotti and Zidane from mine. I'm going to move Bielsa back to 10. I'll bring Jesus in at, let's say, 6. So let me work backwards. Let me work from the top then. So Flick 1, Klopp 2, Guardiola 3. I'm okay with Gasperini 4 with what he's done at Atalanta. I'm okay with Nagelsmann 5. So I'm going to go Jesus at 6. Ahead of Simeone at 7. I'll keep Lopetegui at 8. So then I got to bring 2 more into it. Ooh, that's rough. Or I got to drop somebody or move it around. That's difficult. Might have to think about this. Gallardo could be close to this, but they lost the league, and that's why I think he gets dropped. They failed at the league. They lost in the final, the Libertadores. It's going to be hard for him to get in. It is a very Europe-centric list. I get that.
Right.
I would be willing to go Mourinho into this at 9 or 10. And who's my other one? Not quite for Gattuso. Not quite, but close. Man, I gotta think about that.
Okay, so and I worked it.
Pioli's a good shout for the last year, and maybe he's the one who gets in at 10 for me.
Yeah. Klopp, Flick, Pep, Nagelsmann, Gasparini, Simeone, Lopetegui. I included last year in with this year, having Zidane and Bielsa at 8 and 9, and Jose Mourinho at number 10.
Winterwind asks if Rafa would make my 11 to 20, and he can't, being in China. He just can't. I mean, he hasn't dominated in China either, so
right.
He can't make it because he's there. Hasenhüttl as an honorable mention. That's a good shout,
yes.
Burned.
Yeah, that is. That's good.
I was trying to think of somebody outside the box to get into my 10 besides Jesus, and I couldn't come up with another one. He's close with what he's done. He's very close.
I mean,
I'll go Pioli instead with what he's got Milan doing right now. So, Pioli gets in. Hasenhüttl's in the next 10.
Yeah, I mean, just think about Southampton from the 9-0 loss to Leicester City, and Southampton sticking with Hasenhüttl and where they are right now. You know, if the season ended today, Southampton would be in the Europa League spot at 6-2-3, and now that they're getting Danny Ings back healthy, it's been fun to see Southampton this season, but getting Danny Ings back in the lineup and getting him back right just in time for festive fixtures, I think is big. But yeah, Hasenhüttl's a good shout.
Next question, since we are questioning things this evening, has Jose Mourinho become a kinder, gentler Mourinho? And here's why I think he has. Let's go back to Jose when he was on the rise at Porto. He goes to Chelsea, even in his time at Inter. What's one of the recurring characteristics of his time at those three spots? He had incredible relationships with his players. They would run through walls for him. You saw how close Lampard and Terry and Drogba were with him at Chelsea. His Porto guys, that some of them came with him to other spots. Materazzi, hugging him in the tunnel after winning the Champions League and knowing that Mourinho was leaving for Real Madrid. He didn't have those relationships at Real Madrid. He didn't have those at Manchester United. He didn't have them the second time at Chelsea, really.
Right.
And it's not just the Amazon show, which is for show, but I think you got a hint of it there. What he's brought out of Harry Kane. Harry Kane is a very good player, and he's been a very good player. I feel like he's bordering world elite right now because of what Mourinho's getting out of him. And I feel like just in general, he's got this team playing very, very hard for him. And that's what was missing at his last few stops. I had always chalked it up to some bitterness, some anger. The Real Madrid experience kind of broke him a little bit. He just didn't seem to be enjoying himself. He kind of seems to be enjoying himself at Tottenham.
Yeah.
Maybe it's less pressure. Maybe it's just the right group of players. I don't know. But is he a kinder and gentler Mourinho now?
Well, I mean, kinder and gentler. I mean, and once again, I'm looking at the Amazon series as kind of my baseline here. I mean, you still look at him you still look at him in the office, you still look at him on the pitch, and you still look at him on the practice field. I mean, he can still have his moments of being a hard ass when he wants to get his points across. But I would say that he's approaching it differently. He still has those elements of the taskmaster and the guy who's going to go after the fourth official and the guy who's going to, make sure that his players know where he's coming from. I think that he's probably tempered it a little bit. I don't know if he's kinder and gentler, but he's probably tempered it toward coming back to the middle a little bit.
See, and Burns says, I don't think Dele Alli would agree with that.
True.
But is that on Dele? Or is that on Mourinho?
I think that if you're not, I think that it's on Delhi, because if you're not doing what the coach is asking you to do, or something in that vein, then I think that's on the player. And if the player isn't showing what the coach would like to see in practice, then you're not going to get run in the Premier League, and you're going to get run in Europa, and it's going to be different. So I think that that's more on Delhi than it is on Jose in that case.
Well, I think Delhi's an example as well to the rest of the group. I think he's being used as that, and a lot of managers will do that. They'll pick somebody for that to be. I can't remember who it was at Porto went through this, and I think it was I can't remember the book. I can't remember who wrote it. It was about Mourinho's first stint at Chelsea, and it was a player at Porto kind of giving some insight into it, and he had done something wrong. I can't remember if he showed up late or did something to get on Jose's bad side. And Jose sent him off to run and made a very big example of it with the squad. And once the guy served his time, because he was a regular player, a key player for the team, once he kind of served his time, served his penance, he was brought back in like nothing went wrong.
Yeah.
And he used him as an example to make a point. I wonder if it's a combination of two things with Delhi. Delhi, I think that was the idea at the beginning. I think the conversation on All or Nothing was actually pretty enlightening in Jose being pretty upfront, like with what this is what I've heard. This is what I see out of you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? And has he done anything? We don't know. We're not seeing everything.
Yeah, we don't know.
But it doesn't seem like he's stepped up to that challenge.
Right.
It's very interesting. Burns says he just rewatched the episode again, and Mourinho and Levy are trashing Delhi's practice attitude. He said it's pretty brutal, but probably true. It's a really interesting one. Ragamuffin brings up the envelopes that Brendan Rodgers did at Liverpool. That was such a bad idea, because that became this like cliffhanger thing, the being Liverpool thing. And I forgot all about that, Ragamuffin. That was such a bad idea, because now everybody was on edge. You can't do it that way to make the example. You got to make the clear example. And I wonder if you're getting some better reactions and better performances out of some players on this team because of what you're doing with Dele Alli. Now, it's the next two questions that have to follow up on this is Dele going to change? And we don't know. No. He needs to grow up at some point. He's far too talented to be in this kind of spot. Or is he going to demand a leave, which is also a strong possibility. And then Jose's going to need another example. Or he's going to have to keep reminding everybody about Dele Alli.
Well, I was going to say I thought that Tanguy and Ndombele might be that example now. But
it could be. You can have more than one example.
Yeah, and I thought that they were trying to shop Dele in the last window anyway, but Rumors. They couldn't come up with the right deal.
Rumors.
So, but no, I think that Dele's time is short-lived. How short or how many transfer windows that translates into, who knows? But no, I think that Tanguy and Ndombele might be next in line for the examples.
One more on the manager front. What do you think about Mikel Arteta?
I think that I'm sure that patience is wearing thin with the fan base. I honestly thought we got the new manager bump, and I'm thinking that it might have been the right hire, but it just seems like they're not responding to him right now at Arsenal. For whatever reason, it just doesn't seem like the message is getting through, and he's not getting the most out of his players. And Aubameyang, you're not getting what you were looking for from him. It's just all of these different elements that before Arteta was there, you were seeing them shine, but now they're not, and you're wondering...
Well, hold up. Before Arteta was there, they were shining? Then why is he there?
Specific, goal numbers.
Okay.
All I'm
okay.
Numbers and stats. It's not strictly a numbers thing. But it's like the offense that was there isn't there. The goals that were being put in the net aren't there. There's stuff going on at the back, and I always wondered about picking up David Luiz as an acquisition in the first place. But there were too many questions about folks that you brought in, and it's like the the starting 11 of misfit toys right now, and you don't know where things are. I think that the shine is off Arteta, and I don't know how patient Arsenal's going to be.
So on Sky yesterday, I believe. Actually, no, it was earlier today because it was Monday Night Football. This is what Jamie Carragher said about yesterday's match and Arteta in general.
I could not believe that interview. I couldn't believe some of the things I heard after the game, some of the things I've read this morning. Arsenal did not play well. Arsenal were awful defensively and with the ball from minute one. This idea that because you have possession, you've played well, I'm flabbergasted when I hear it. They never had one chance in the game where someone should have scored. I've just seen a Mourinho quote saying possession is for the poets or the philosophers. He's absolutely spot on. If there's nothing with the possession. And I thought tactically, Arsenal were a shambles, so poor. And what I can't believe and what was frustrating me so much watching it was because this has happened so often in Mourinho's managerial career. Even if you'd only watched Tottenham this season, you'd know what they were going to do. And it was almost like this Arsenal team and Mikel Arteta are being transported into this game from the moon. And they didn't know who Mourinho was. They'd never seen Tottenham play. And honestly, I was flabbergasted with what I watched and some of the things I heard after the games. I thought they were so poor. And the big frustration with me is because I loved Arteta when he first come in. I still love him. But I loved him because he went into big games last season. And when he was up against teams who were far better than him, he altered his idea. He's from Barcelona. He's worked with Guardiola. We know what his idea is. But he changed that at times last season.
The last part is the most fascinating part to me. Because that's what I feel is different. It's almost like when the questions started coming for Arteta, because the results haven't been good. I mean, we'll talk about that in a second. The results are a little scary at the moment for Arsenal. But he came in and he did well, won a trophy last year. Good soccer. Possession, you know how I feel about it. It's an important element of it. There has to be something to it, and Carragher's right, Mourinho's right, anybody who says that is correct. There has to be a point, and the question Ragamuffin has, the question Forecard and Ragamuffin have is about Ozil. Where is he? What's he doing? Mm-hmm. What's going on? Because he's a player that can pick things apart when you have possession. These are the kinds of games where you're going to have a bunch of possession that are made for him. What's the deal? But it feels like when the questions started to come, when the results turned south, instead of making adjustments, it's become a little bit stubborn for Arteta. And it's, no, we're going to keep doing this. And no, putting in crosses is okay. And having all this possession is okay. It means we're playing well. And it doesn't. It means you're controlling an aspect of the game. But are you winning? Are you winning games? Are you getting leads? Are you producing things with it? And if you're not, you have to make some tweaks at some point. You just have to. It's not just Arteta. I agree with what J-Dub is saying here in the Twitch pitch. They've got other problems too.
Yes.
And that's going to become a bigger issue if they do move on. But this is the reality. They are sixth from bottom. This is the worst start Arsenal has had since 1981. At that time, Terry Neal was the manager. He got the vote of confidence. Oh, no. Uh-oh. But it was actually a real vote of confidence. The board did not make a change. Arsenal won 6 matches in a row. Everything flipped. This Arsenal doesn't feel like they can go on a run like that. This Arsenal's got some bigger issues, and you look ahead at what's coming up for them. Let's run into the schedule here real quick. So you've got Europa League at Dundalk. Okay. Sorry, Colonel.
Yeah.
You are hosting Burnley on Sunday with a quick turn, but you should be able to navigate that. Should be. You host Southampton next Wednesday. You go to Everton on the 19th. You host Manchester City in the Gummy Bear Cup quarterfinal on the 22nd. You host Chelsea on the 26th. You go to Brighton on the 29th. You host West Brom on the 2nd. Then you're in the third round of the FA Cup, and you got Newcastle at home on the 9th of January. That's not easy, and you've got some cup games to deal with, especially that EFL Cup quarterfinal. You know, I mean, that's your best shot at a trophy. You've got to go all in on that, and then you play Chelsea a few days later. I mean, you're screwed.
Yes.
So, you know, you look at where they are in the table, and they are 15th. They are right now 7 points clear of the last relegation spot. That's nice.
Yeah.
It is tight all the way up to 6th. You know, that's 6 points ahead of where they are. A run could change it, but can they do it? I don't think he has to win 6 in a row, but
no.
Can he, in what he's got coming up, can he beat Burnley at home? Yes.
Yes.
Can he beat Southampton at the Emirates?
Not looking to it.
Okay.
Not so sure.
And it's on short rest. Can he
Right.
go to Everton and win?
I'm not too sure.
We'll leave the cup game to the side for a minute, but then you're hosting Chelsea after the cup game. Is Chelsea still alive in the EFL Cup?
I'll effort that.
I don't know if they have a game there, too, and maybe that could give them a little bit of a reprieve. It's going to be rough. I mean, you've got the win over Burnley that you should be able to take care of, and, okay, that's good, but beyond that, it's going to be rough, and Thomas Partey is dealing with an injury. I don't know if he survives to that FA Cup third-round match.
Chelsea is not in the final 8.
Okay, so Chelsea will get that time off.
Yep.
Right, that's even better for Arsenal. I will go out on a limb and put some candy canes on Mikel Arteta not making it to the FA Cup.
Okay.
I don't think they beat Southampton.
I got a manager he can have then.
You want Mikel Arteta at Celtic, Jarrett?
What did you trade?
No, but they can have Neil.
I don't think they want Neil, sadly.
Yeah.
Arsenal actually tries to play soccer.
What year is this that they attempt to play the game?
I know, it's crazy, isn't
I'll
it?
bet they. You know what? I'll bet their center backs can play with the ball at their feet too. Commies.
David Luiz has a pretty good right foot. It's true.
Yeah.
All right, so it doesn't look good for Arteta. I don't know if he makes it to the FA Cup. We will see. He's got to make some adjustments, and it feels like he's gotten too stubborn. That's what scares me. All right, Jarrett, we were waiting for you to get into this. So FIFA and IFAB are talking about things to make the game better. VAR is one big topic. How it works, all those sorts of things. The concussion situation is another big topic. We've talked about that. Hopefully they go with the temporary sub. But they are starting to talk about the offside rule. And I've been wondering when this would happen. Gianni Infantino, head of FIFA, on Friday said that FIFA wants to improve the offside rule. It's difficult to find a consensus among the experts discussing the matter. I think that's fairly accurate. The discussion about VAR, now you can break it down to you can see if somebody's a toe off. It's a toe off. It's according to the law. That's what it is. Infantino said the offside rule has evolved over the last 100 years, and we are now discussing it again. We are looking to see if we can make the offside rule better, not because of VAR, but because we want to foster offensive football. So the question is, should we give more advantage to the attacking player, which is how offside has evolved over the years? And would it help if there were no more marginal offsides? These are the discussions which are currently taking place. That second part terrifies me. It's being discussed by IFAB. FIFA has half of the 8 votes at IFAB. Infantino said it was not easy to find common ground among the experts at IFAB. You've got former players, you got referees, you got a mishmash of people in there. They're all looking at it from different perspectives. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. This would not change overnight. There is right now no proposed idea on the table to go forward with. They are still at the discussing potential options phase. Any concrete proposal needs to be applicable at all levels of the game. So think to little Janie's U13 match and think to a World Cup final. It's got to be applicable in a change to the laws of the game on all of it. It's got to be easy for referees to deal with, mindful of the dynamic nature of players' movement. Now, IFAB doesn't want to change the offside law just because of how it's been, applied in leagues with VAR, which I'm fine. I'm fine with that. You don't want to completely change it just because of a small sliver of the game. That makes sense. Once you get a proposal, then you have to do some trials of it. That's how these things work. Then you would propose a change to the law. It could be a few years before you get there. Now, could there be some intermediate steps, especially in terms of how VAR is used to determine offside? Absolutely. But a change to the law won't happen anytime soon. So December 16th, there's a meeting. March is where things get actually concrete for the next year with the laws of the game. There's nothing there yet. Arsene Wenger's idea of a player being onside if any part of the body is level will be talked about at this meeting. Wenger has said even that maybe it's too much to the attacking team. But that's where things stand. Jarrett, I'll ask you, do you have any ideas here at how to deal with this in the short and the long term? Because this feels like when everybody complains about VAR, it feels like the complaints always come back to offside. Outside of that, it's judgment calls that referees make, and you can have VAR, you cannot have VAR. But do you have any ideas about how offside could be tweaked in a VAR world and just in general with a change to the laws of the game? Is there anything rattling around in your head about it?
So just so I'm clear, is Arsene Wenger talking about doing offside in a sense of like, if I'm way past the dude, but my leg is dragging even with him, then I'm onside? It's
flipping it, yeah. It's flipping it to where if any body part's on, you're on.
Oh, that's opening a can of worms.
I don't think it's opening a can of worms. It just moves the line.
The other, I think it's one of those things that requires a lot of not just understanding of, okay, we're changing the way the rules applied. That doesn't change overnight in a player's mind either. For a defender to hold a line and to step, the way a defender steps is going to be different.
Saw that play out when they went to the idea of even is on, which wasn't a law change, but it was I want to say it was the early 90s.
Interpretation.
Yeah, it was more the interpretation of how ARs were told to make their rulings, and again, this is pre-VAR world, and it took defenders a little bit of time to adjust because they had to be a little more careful. You saw offside traps change a little bit at that time.
Yeah, and so here's my big thing about offside rules is offside is not gray, y'all. It's black and white. There's no he was kind of offside, he was kind of onside. No matter how many talking heads who might want to scream and rant about, he was close, so, it was close enough you understand. Like, no, offside is supposed to be a black and white rule. If you have an issue with the way it's called right now, and I get it in England because, they're calling guys offside by the width of a gnat. I mean, I get it with the way the Hawkeye system is used. Take that issue with Hawkeye and the fact that they're using it for it, because what they're using, when the way they're applying it by the rules, which is there's no gray area. You're onside or you're not onside. There is no, he was kind of there and it was a really beautiful pass, so we're going to let them have it because moral victory. Like that doesn't exist. I honestly don't know how you fix this, because there's no one who's going to be happy at the end of the day. Do you want to go back to just You could go back to, if you're England, for example, go back to the way MLS does it, where,
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to take a look at that goal, and we're not going to use the Hawkeye system. We're going to have the official look at it through the monitor. If you want to do the camera setup and have like the way the Hawkeye system works, where you have the camera tracking and the camera is level, that I think would be an interesting compromise. But you just don't have the Hawkeye system giving you the answer. You can just see it on level. Because, I mean, look, ARs are imperfect. The reason they're imperfect is because you have finely tuned athletic machines that are trying to dance along the line of being onside or offside constantly. It's kind of their job.
Hey, let's go a step further than where
and they move it.
Let's go a step further than where
quickly.
you are. Let's go a step further. Bernd has a good question, and I want both your takes on this. Why don't you just exclude offside from VAR, period? Just take it out. You cannot use video assistant referees to look at an offside decision. You okay with that?
I like the idea in theory, but, man,
Yeah.
I mean, it's... I'll tell you... so, here's the thing, Bern. I like that with a lot of referees. You know who I don't like that with? Pro. At all.
Yes.
I want to give Pro every single camera we can possibly give them.
Yes.
And all the training we can possibly give them. And they'll still get it wrong.
Write out the answer for Pro on a piece of paper in calligraphy if I need to. Because I don't trust them as far as I can throw them right now to get simple calls right, much less close offside calls.
Yeah.
I don't hate that idea in theory, though.
Yeah. No, I don't either, but I don't trust Pro any further than I can throw them.
It'd be tough to write because if you're going to allow the attacking phase of play to be looked at and you're going to allow it to look back at a foul in the attacking phase of play or a handball, if ball's played over the top, forward brings it down with their arm and then goes in to score, if you don't call it on the field, if you're going to get rid of attacking phase of play, which I think you'd have to exclude offside.
Yeah.
You're going to have arguments the other way. Look, no matter what you do, you're going to have arguments. I think that's the problem that I have with people's reactions to this is you can change it to what Arsene Wenger's saying about offside. People will complain because there will still be a line. Too much advantage for the offensive player. No, that's not even what I'm talking about. There will still be a close call. There will still be a player who is offside by a toe. It's just on the other end.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still going to happen. Or you'll look back at it and they were onside by a toe, and then the defensive team's going to complain and say that the law is horrible and everybody should quit the game and all this stuff. There's always going to be these discussions. I generally have been in favor of bring all the technology into the game as possible to get the calls right. That is where my head has been. That's where my gut still is. I'm tired of the nonsense with the Hawkeye system, with people's reaction to it. I don't have a problem with it in general. I trust it. I think it's accurate. It's better than some of the ones where you see people trying to actually draw lines. No, this does it computer generated. You don't have to worry about that.
Oh, Jesus,
you don't have to worry about somebody having a wobbly hand. Like, you're good. But it seems like people just can't handle the fact that it is super accurate and it is down to an incredible amount of detail. I would be okay, at least as an intermediate step, of taking those kinds of things out and then bringing offside back to a clear and obvious issue. It is something that you don't have the Hawkeye system. And Ragamuffin, it is not just drawing lines on Microsoft Paint. And I hate that people bring that up, and I know you're joking. I'm not talking to you here. But people bring that up to slam the system. That's not what it is, and anybody who's paid any attention to it knows that. But that's the complaint. I'm tired of it even being an issue at this point. If you went, like Jarrett was talking about, and you say none of those systems to determine offside, it becomes a clear and obvious issue, just like if there was a foul in the build-up, just like if there's a discussion point. I'm okay with that. That would feel like it is getting somewhat back to the spirit of things. ARs are going to have to make that call again. They're going to have to put that flag up at the end of the play, and then you can take a look at it. But you're not using technology to do it. You're taking a look, and it's got to be clear and obvious then. Because you're not using a computer system to determine clear and obvious. You got to look at it and say, oh, yeah, he's off. Let me look at it. Let me get another angle. Let me double check this. He looks off. Yes, he's off. Or no, he looks on. It's good. Like, you've got to. I'm okay if they do that. That's the move I would make here. I do want them to think and get the experts and come up with as many ideas to give the attacking player more of an advantage. Yes, I like attacking soccer. I like attacking football. But the idea has always been to promote attacking. The idea of even is on was to promote attacking. Well, now you've taken some of that away because you're using cameras to determine it. Even if you take Hawkeye away, you're using extra sources to determine accuracy of that even is on. If you can find a way, and I don't know what it is, I don't know if it's torso, I don't know if it's foot, I don't know what you're going to use, but if there's a way to take some of the idea that Arsene Wenger has and maybe not give quite as much of an advantage, and again, this is over my head, I don't know where that is, you're going to have to do some testing. You're going to have to get some leagues that are going to sign up to try it, you're going to have to train referees, and you're going to have to see what it does to the game. You need to give the attacker a little bit more because the complaints are not when it's not in favor of catching people narrowly offside. It is outrage because people are narrowly offside. That tells you that people in the game want more players to be onside. So give them more space to be onside in the law. But that's going to be a hard one to define because you've got to be able to clearly define it. Sean Vergara says go to the hockey rule, which is Wenger's idea. Any part even is on.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it. It gives it potentially a whole stride more room to be onside. It will change the way teams defend. I don't think you'll see as high of a line from a lot of teams because of that. But I wonder if that is maybe starting to fade anyway because of just the way the game is changing. I don't know. You want to give the attacker more. That is a lot. And like I said, Wenger's even said that. Maybe it's too much. I'd like to see it play out for a little while before I commit to it. But if the intermediate step with VAR is to get rid of Hawkeye technology and just it is clear and obvious, you can look at camera replays and you got to determine it from what you see, I'd be okay with that. I don't like it personally. I'd be okay with that for the game because it's becoming a distraction. People are losing their minds about this stuff, and I'm over it. So if that will get people to shut up, then do it, and that will maybe get things closer to where people want them to be, where you're getting calls right when they feel right, not when maybe they actually are right, but you don't like it.
Yeah. So even is on, clear and obvious.
No, leave even as on. Even it on was an old school way because you didn't have cameras. It's just it becomes clear and obvious. It becomes when you review a goal, you are looking back at it. Now the ARs are going to have to do the same things they have been doing. They're going to have to hold their flag, but they have to put their flag up. And this is something that has to be consistent because I wonder if they don't do this not properly, if they don't follow this directive sometimes. They have to keep their flag down to let it play out. It's the same idea that we see in American football when there's a fumble. You've got to you can't blow the whistle early because you want to be able to get the call right. If you blow the whistle, if he puts the flag up early, the ref stops the play, and he was actually on, then that's an awful situation. We saw it play out in the Women's World Cup when this directive started at the World Cup level. You saw multiple situations where a goal would have been called back for being offside when it was incorrect.
Right.
Because the AR put their flag up at the end of the play, saying it was offside. They looked at it, they said, no, it was actually onside, goal stands. So they have to put the flag up at the end. You just don't have the Hawkeye system to determine it down to super fine detail. It has to be what the VAR sees, which is just like what the AR sees, except they're going to be able to use replay to do it. So they're getting more detail, but maybe not too much detail that seems to upset people.
Yeah. Jarrett, what do you think?
I mean, I don't know how you progress with this. I don't know how you fix it going forward, honestly, at this point. Like, like I said, I'm still in the mindset of you bring some technology into this. You take the Hawkeye out of it, use the cameras so we can look at it and see. Because, again, it should be a yes-no thing. Again, this is a black and white thing. This isn't like, trying to go into video assistant referee for a for a foul, whether or not it was a red card or not, or it's a judgment call. This isn't that. It shouldn't be anyway, but apparently it is. So I don't know. Like, I mean, someone's always going to get upset. Like, you change the rules the first time. Someone's favorite team or the hipster pick of the year gets undone by that. Oh my God. We won't be able to not hear the end of it.
Oh, 100%. If a call goes against Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp will be very defensive, and he will be talking about it quite a bit. If a call goes against Tottenham, Jose Mourinho will have some very choice things to say, or he will make it very clear how he feels without saying anything.
Yes.
It's going to happen because there's going to be a call made, and there's going to be a controversial call made. But if the idea that people keep saying is like, well, get rid of VAR because it's messing up this part of the game, and okay, then take the Hawkeye part out, but allow the VAR, the video assistant referee, to use their eyes to look at a replay and determine, like, yeah, he's off. Yes, he's on. What did the AR do? They didn't put their flag up? They should have put their flag up. That's offside. Hey, do you want to look at it, center referee? No, you buy me because I'm basically putting my flag up, essentially, as an AR would have, and you're going to believe me? Cool. Or, the AR didn't put their flag up. They say it should have. The AR put their flag up. You check it. That AR is wrong. Like, that was good. That was onside. Don't call that back. Let that goal stand. You've got to just let them use their eyes, I guess, because maybe that way people will stop complaining. I just hear all the complaints about armpit offside or toe offside. Right. You'll take some of that out of it. It'll just be down to what they see.
Yeah. And then they'll just yell at the ARs because they were blind.
They'll yell at something because they'll be yelling. They will be yelling at ARs. They'll be yelling at the video assistant. The video assistant referee will be involved in it. I think they have to be. I think if you're going to include the attacking phase of play and something that can be reviewed, that's part of it. But they won't be able to draw the lines computer generated. It will be what they see. Just like for the AR on the field, it is what they see. People will find a way to be mad about it, but that maybe will get less anger. I don't know. I got nothing. Burns says, are they changing the handling rule as well? There's been talk about that too. All the buzz on this stuff over the weekend was on the offside law, because it was one of the first times they really talked about it in any detail. I think it was the first time Infantino had said anything about it. The handling thing has come up. I'm sure that will be a point of discussion on the 16th. My guess is they go back, because I think it is an easy tweak, and it's not going to require a bunch of years of trialing things. I think they go back to giving referees the discretion to determine intent. And I think they have to. You can't make handball black and white. I just think it's impossible. As we're seeing people, again, reacting to it, I agree with the reactions this time. I think, okay, I can buy that, because sometimes it feels like it is the letter of the law when it doesn't feel like that should be a handball. And I always think of the Tottenham one in stoppage time. I think it was Eric Dyer who was jumping and had his arm up kind of behind his head, and the opponent headed it into that arm. There was no intent from Dyer to use his arm to block that header. But by the letter of the law, it's a handball.
Right.
Give the referee the ability to say, no, there's no intent there. That's not a handball play. And then the other side will get mad at it and yell about it, which will happen. And you can't. That's the tough part about this, is you can't just change the laws because people get mad. Because if you just flip it, people will get mad on the other side.
Of course.
You've got to do what's right. And now we're seeing the handball thing become a major issue. I'm with Bernd. I think it is even worse than offside. It's got to get fixed. And that's an easy fix. You go back to where it was before. You can still define it, But you have to add in the referee being able to judge intent. That's the key for me. And then second, the offside thing has to be talked about. The concussion stuff has to be talked about. Like, you've got to get to where you're trying to make the game as good as it can be. And things have gotten out of whack with the way people feel about it because of the offside situation. So let's tweak how people feel about it. Let's try to find the right in between to make it work, and we will see. It was dire against Newcastle. Thank you, Katie. Okay, so we will see how that goes. That's going to be on the 16th, the next meeting with IFAB. There will probably be more conversation ahead of it, and then there will be a lot coming out of it, I would assume. So I don't think final decisions get made there, but at least maybe ideas of what proposals will be crafted for March. So we'll have a good sense of where things are headed. They've got a lot on their plate, and I think that's going to be the case for a while with video replay involved in the game now. You can just see everything. You can see what was right, what was wrong, what's good, what's bad. Like, it's shining a spotlight on all this stuff. So IFAB has to be maybe more active than they're accustomed to in making tweaks. Okay. We got a big couple days of Champions League.
Okay.
And we got to get into these. There's some groups that there's not much to talk about. There's some that are going to be fascinating over the next couple of days. Let's start with tomorrow. We'll kind of go chronological here. You've got one group playing at 12:55 each day. Tomorrow, not a ton to it, to be honest, in Group F. Lazio draw at home is enough over Brugge to clinch a spot in the knockout rounds.
Brugge.
Do it, Joe. There you go. There you go, buddy.
It's not funny. It's like just bad. Whatever.
I love it so much.
It's horrible. Y'all are awful.
I'm a horrible influence.
I hope they get knocked out completely so we don't have to ever talk about them again. Dortmund can clinch the group with a draw at Zenit. Zenit's out of everything. They're eliminated. What are the numbers on the Lazio-Brugge game?
Lazio is a minus 141.
Okay.
Your draw option is a plus 300. And Jarrett, you want to hit me with this one?
No, you do it. Okay. I'm not going to try and emulate. You don't try and paint the Sistine Chapel when all you got's a set of crayons.
All right.
Bruh.
No. Brugge. It's like a foghorn. Yeah, plus 385.
I can't wait till they're eliminated. Yeah, anyway. Group G, 3 o'clock, Tuesday. Not a whole lot to it. Barcelona hosting Juventus. Messi versus Ronaldo. Yippee. Nothing really matters.
Yay.
The other end of the group...
We're not betting anything on this game. It's too sad.
Not even getting into it.
At this point.
The other end of the group actually has something on the line here. Dynamo Kiev hosting Ferencvaros. Europa League spot on the line. Kiev gets it with a draw. What are the numbers?
Dynamo Kiev minus 119. Your draw is a plus 270, and Ferencvaros is a plus 340.
Yeah, I think Dynamo Kiev gets it done. I can't go with the Hungarians on the road here.
Nope.
Not in a must-win spot. Group E, another easy one. Chelsea and Sevilla are going through. Krasnodar is all but locked into the Europa spot. Chelsea's hosting Krasnodar. Rennes is hosting Sevilla. I don't care what the numbers are. Nothing matters in this group. Rest everybody, Chelsea. Don't play anybody who matters. Group H, also on Tuesday. Now things ramp up a little bit. So, you've got PSG hosting Başakşehir, and you've got RB Leipzig hosting Manchester United. Now, PSG should win. They're hosting. Başakşehir's out of it. They should win that game. That would put them to 12, correct? You've got 3 teams on 9 points?
PSG with a win. Where's my group? Where's my group standings? Oh, here we go. Yes.
Well, you see what happened? The gerbil stopped running, so the computer stopped rolling.
Manchester United, PSG, and RB Leipzig all at 9. Manchester United at plus 6 in goal difference. PSG at plus 3. RB Leipzig minus 2.
So, PSG should win. They should move through. Okay.
12.
Yes, well, 12. RB Leipzig and Manchester United is the other game. Who is ahead of the other one right now going into the day? Manchester United, correct?
+6.
So the draw would be enough for them. Leipzig needs to win. Now, Manchester United also can't get caught looking ahead because they host Manchester City on Saturday. They also have to figure out who's going to play up front because Martial and Cavani are out injured. You got, just great timing on the Paul Pogba drama with his agent saying it's time to go. If I'm Ole, I'm furious at that, by the way. And Ole's not somebody who shows fury very often. He should, because that is complete and utter disrespect to the club. Not just to do it the way that it was done, but to do it the day before a Champions League match that is must get a result to go through. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, because look, he's gone.
Yeah.
You're not going to sign him again. Forget it. He's gone. Just like we talked about with making an example, make an example.
Yep.
Leave him home. Don't even take him. Tell him to sit out the rest of the calendar year. Make a stand. And I don't know if Ole's going to be in a position to do that, frankly. But he should. When Mino Raiola, the agent, comes out and says Paul's unhappy with Manchester United, as he is no longer able to express himself in the way that he would like and he is expected to. Paul needs a new team, a change of air. He's under contract for the next 18 months, and it will expire in the summer of 22. However, I think the best solution for both Pogba and Man United is he goes in the next transfer window. If not, the Old Trafford club know they risk losing him on a free transfer, as it is not Paul's intention to extend his contract. That part's fine. Timing's horrible, but that part's fine. Then he wants to throw more shots, which it's Manchester United's board and Ed Woodward, so he might not be wrong. Manchester United board know the risk losing Pogba for free, given the player has no intention of extending. If somebody does not understand that, then they do not understand football. In any case, let them blame me if Paul leaves. No, I blame you for doing this at this time because this is horrible, and you're too powerful to get called out by a club because they have to do business with you. But it is incredibly disrespectful, and Ole should use this to make his stand. Because, look, Ole's job, Ole could get to what's reasonable here for that team this year. He could qualify for Champions League next year. He could get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League this year. He could get top 4 this year in the Premier League. He could make a run in one of the cups domestically, and he could still lose his job.
Yep.
Because it's never been settled. Thomas Tuchel's going to become available. He could go. This is his chance to maybe come up aces. Maybe. And I think the only way he does that is he makes a stand and says, okay, yeah, we're getting ready to get on the plane. Paul, you're going home. You go home. I don't want to see you anymore until January. You'll have another club then, but you're going home right now. I'm done with this. Because if your agent did this on his own, you haven't said a word to stop it. You haven't said a word to say, well, that's my agent talking. You haven't said a word to back down from it, which means you endorse it. And which means you don't care about the game you're about to play. So stay home. That's the only thing Ole's got at this point.
Yep.
I would do that as a rallying point because that's his last wild card to pull. Can they go get a draw in Germany? Yeah. They can go get a draw. They're going to have to be a little bit different here because what are you going to do? I'm assuming Rashford and Greenwood up top. Maybe you go 5-3-2 with it, 3-5-2 with it or something. Needing a draw actually can help you here because you can avoid getting caught in possession. You can play direct. You can make RB Leipzig carry the play. They're better when they create through the press. They can still create with the ball at their feet as well, but they're not quite as strong there.
Right.
You can sit deeper and defend. I mean, that's all you can do, and you've got to get the best out of Bruno Fernandes. He's the key to everything for this team. Since he came to the club, 38 games in all competitions. He's been involved in 36 goals, 22 goals, 14 assists. That's 5 more than any other Premier League player during that period of time. He's the key. Manchester United could absolutely win it. And Burns says, yeah, they may get a win. Leipzig's not that great lately. I agree. And that's why, if I'm Ole, I am planting my flag on I'm done with being disrespected. Pogba, go home, and we're going to go do this ourselves. What are the numbers for Leipzig and Manchester United?
RB Leipzig plus 135, Manchester United plus 185, and your draw is a plus 280.
I will hedge my bets, and I will put a Christmas pack of red, green, and white M&Ms on the draw.
Okay.
And I will take like the Christmas caramel things you'll get. You know, when they're wrapped up in like little red and green pack. You're looking at me crazy. It's a caramel. It's a caramel candy. It's not anything fancy. It's just wrapped up in Christmas attire. So okay. I'm taking those and putting them on a win because those I can risk a little bit more. I'll throw the M&Ms on what I think will happen, which is a draw. But I think Manchester United gets through.
I'll take.
Go ahead, John.
I was going to say I'll put candy corn on the win.
Candy corn for Christmas, John.
Yes.
Who does that?
And like Werther's Originals on the draw.
Candy corn's horrible anytime. Yes, it is, Jarrett. It's even worse for Christmas. Power that mute button.
I'm going to invent some peppermint candy corn and send it to your house.
There probably is some of that, so I guess that's what John is referring to, because I've never seen candy corn at Christmas. I know that much. But I don't like to see candy corn anytime.
Sounds like a country song.
That's a Lifetime movie. Candy corn at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. The entire time we're going through this, the inside of my head is screaming into the deafness of how can the LA Galaxy make this work in such a way that is both impressive and completely demoralizing for their organization to bring in Paul Pogba. That's all what my mind is screaming right now. Because
they did it with Zlatan.
Man, like bring him in January. Hey guys, we didn't sign Christian Pavone, but we got Paul Pogba. We got no one to create on the left side, but buddy, we got Paul Pogba to pull the trigger and snipe a couple goals.
And no, that's not what soccer's supposed to be.
Which means it's
doesn't
LA.
Mean the Galaxy won't. Which means it is modern day LA Galaxy, not even LA Galaxy in general, because the Galaxy were great, but it's like modern day Galaxy of what if but bad.
So that's a game show. What if but bad.
So
what if but bad? That's good.
Give me. I think Manchester gets through.
I do.
I don't think they make it easy on anyone, including themselves. Give me the Queen Anne cordial cherries on the draw.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. On the draw, I think is realistic. I'd put that on the win.
Yes.
On the win, I'll put the soft peppermint on the win, like those soft peppermint sticks. Those are great. I love those.
I don't like them as much. I flip it. I like real peppermints. I don't even like the candy canes just because they're awkward. I just like peppermints. So like real hard candy peppermints. Yeah, right. I'm all in. Those are an OG for me. The soft ones I don't like as much.
Yeah,
just my thoughts on the situation.
I'm not going to fight on that. Yes, I mean I like them, but I don't like them enough to like start a war over them. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
I save my warfare for other fields of battle.
Fair enough. Well, let's move on to Wednesday, 12:55. Group D is the early one. One game is meaningless. Liverpool hosting Midtjylland. Both teams are locked into their spots. Nothing's happening there. We're not talking about the numbers because I don't even care. Ajax hosting Atalanta. So Ajax must win to get to the knockout round. Atalanta gets there with a draw. Ajax is at home. I'm very intrigued to what these numbers are.
Ajax a plus 127.
Okay.
Your draw is a plus 300.
Okay.
And Atalanta is a plus 188.
Yeah, it's about what I figured. Pretty much a toss-up.
and that's just a composite. Let me see if there's any movement toward the middle for both of these as you continue to think.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one.
Not really.
Not really movement, or not really interesting.
Not a whole lot of movement toward the middle where Atalanta's concerned. You can get them under minus 180. For Ajax, you could get them as low as plus 121.
So
and as high as 136.
Let's look back at their last couple of matches. Ajax is coming in after 2 losses. Narrow losses. They lost in league play to FC Twente 2-1. They lost to Liverpool 1-0 at Anfield last week. I was very disappointed by Ajax's performance. They played pretty well, actually. I was disappointed by the result after bigging up on them.
I was disappointed that game wasn't Big 12.
Yeah, it didn't really turn into it. I think we were all disappointed. So Ajax is coming in after 2 losses. Atalanta has been all over the map this year. I do think fatigue has set in a little bit for them. They did not play over the weekend, which is a little bit of a bonus. They did not play against Udinese. Field was flooded, couldn't play it. All right, before that, they drew with Midtjylland, which is very bad. They lost to Hellas Verona, not good, and that was at home. They beat Liverpool before that at Liverpool, and then they had back-to-back draws in league, and they lost to Liverpool 5-0 before that. They are all over the map. I wonder if having the weekend off helps them.
Yeah.
I think it will be enough for them to get what they need. I think most teams this would work out to be a draw. I actually think Atalanta goes in and gets the win because Ajax gets caught here at some point. Atalanta punishes them. So I'm going to go with the road underdog Atalanta, and I think they get into the knockout round.
Okay.
And let me think what I'm going to put on it. It's not my favorite, so I'm not going to use the Reese's Christmas tree on it because that's the best. That's the best.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yes.
They're all the same. I mean, it doesn't matter what shape they put that thing in. It's better than a regular Reese's to me. I think it's the mix of peanut butter. It's a little different.
That's a fair shot. I will not argue that.
Yeah, there's something about it that's a little different, like the Reese's eggs, the pumpkins, the Christmas trees. I mean, they're all the same thing.
Pop them in the freezer
different.
and life gets better.
Yes.
I don't like those in the freezer as much. I like the regular Reese's peanut butter cups in the freezer. I don't like the eggs or things in the freezer as much.
Oh, I absolutely hoard them and put them in the freezer and, in March, bring them out after they've thawed, just for a couple of seconds and you go ahead. Dude, it is an all around the year thing.
You freeze them for months on end and then you let them out for...
Is that I buy...
Wait, how long are you freezing these things
what
for?
are you talking about?
The thing is that Patty will end up buying like a gross of them. And so you can't have them all at once, and so you put them in the freezer. And so they're there for you, whether it's Easter eggs or Christmas trees, they're there for you for a while.
Okay.
Chris Hutchison is glad that there is not...
If you're gonna pop them in the freezer, go ahead and get a ton of them after the holidays when they go on sale. I mean, I can see where he's coming from here.
That's a little
Chris
much.
Hutchison's glad that there is not such a thing as Christmas corn.
Yeah, it's gross. That's just absolutely gross.
I'm gonna make it happen. We're gonna be getting like Christmassy candy corn, Snickerdoodle candy corn or something.
I need to find these. I might have stumbled onto it might be a British website with Christmas candies.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Why does that make sense? Yeah, I haven't even said anything about it yet.
Not just it's the Brits; they'll kind of go off the rails with their candies.
No, it's not off the rails. It's not crazy. It's some stuff I haven't seen because one of my most underrated candies is Andy's candies. Those things are great, and they have a peppermint crunch Andy's candy, which I want, by the way, just in general. And I am going to put that on Atalanta going into Holland and getting the win.
Okay. Down with that.
J-Dub says that John treats his candy like it's 1788 and he's preserving them for the barren times.
Correct. Either that, or you put them in the cellar, the bomb shelter or something, and you just kind of keep them under wraps forever.
Something like
You
that.
could just go to Scotland and get a deep fried Mars bar.
Or the Texas State Fair.
I think Scotland might rival the Texas State Fair for deep frying things.
Yeah, they might be similar. It's both kind of weird. I just want the Mars bar. Let's move to Group A. All right. Team that I really don't like at the moment, Lokomotiv Moscow. They go to Bayern Munich. Lokomotiv let me down in a big way. I'm very disappointed in Lokomotiv.
Absolutely.
Somebody got paid. Oh, my God. Someone made so much money off that.
No doubt.
Man, playing 7 defenders in that game, and they were all horrible. That was a joke. They go to Bayern. Bayern's won the group. Bayern could play whatever kids they have on their Champions League roster, and they probably should. Lokomotiv has to win and get help. They, I think, technically could get all the way up to second, but it doesn't look likely. They could get into the Europa spot, so they have something to play for. The game, though, and it could be the most interesting game of Matchday 6. Red Bull Salzburg hosting Atletico Madrid. Here's why it could be the most interesting. Best defense in Europe in terms of goals allowed per game. Atleti. 0.2. 2 goals in league play. That's it. Red Bull Salzburg. Second best offense in Europe in terms of goals scored per game at 3.4. Yes, the Austrian Bundesliga, a little different than La Liga. It's true. But this could be a fascinating matchup. I'm looking forward to it. This might be the game that I'm looking the most forward to out of everything in this match day. Jesse Marsch, big opportunity in front of him. Now, this is another one of those where Red Bull Salzburg's at home. They have to win.
Mm-hmm.
Atleti gets through with a draw. We know how Diego Simeone loves those kinds of odds. He likes that situation. With a defense like that, they should get through. What are the numbers in this match?
All right. So, looking at Group A, Salzburg, a plus 223 at home. Atleti, a plus 120, and your draw is a plus 265.
Jarrett, does Jesse Marsch pull a rabbit out of the hat and get Red Bull Salzburg past Atleti here?
I want to believe, but I'm not gonna.
No.
You're not gonna?
No, not gonna.
I am too much in the bag with Diego Simeone. So that it's just, man, it's his kind of. This is like his kind of game. Like you ran the risk, and now you got to fight him on his turf in a game that he likes, and man, that's not where you want to be. You don't want to be playing, even if Atletico Madrid didn't necessarily need anything out of the game. You got to play a game against him where it suits him. I don't like that for anyone other than him.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, he's going to beat his defenders to death with their own large intestines if they don't give him exactly what he asked for.
True.
That's gross, Jarrett. That's really gross.
That's true.
It is true, but it's gross.
Yeah, well, this is also the guy that I'm convinced, like, that time Joseph Martinez said, like, we have to play with a knife between our teeth. If you played that for that sound clip and, like, clips of Joseph playing for Diego Simeone, AC Milan, excuse me, Atletico Madrid might put in a bid, like, the next night for Joseph Martinez.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, no, you're thinking Atleti gets it done.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm thinking Atleti gets it done. It's just it's too much it's too much into his camp on his turf kind of thing.
All right, I'm going to have to go out on a limb here because somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to have some guts on this show.
I have guts, and so do the
Jared
players.
Jared just mentioned guts, but it was Simeone beating his players with them.
Y'all don't have any guts. You're not picking Jesse Marsch. You're not picking the American manager. You don't believe in American managers in Europe, do you?
I don't believe in American managers in Europe when they have to beat Diego Simeone in a game where Diego Simeone is in his natural environment.
Yes.
Burns right there with you guys. He says Jesse Marsch has not been great in big games. He has doubts. I've got to go out on a limb here because nobody else is doing it. I feel forced. So
go for it. Can I put a caveat on it?
Sure.
That I think that Jesse Marsch will be better for this. This is one of those things that even if it doesn't work your way, this is one of those that, man, this is a growing experience. All of these games like this will make him better. Yep. And I think he can be really, really, really good on the world stage. I don't think he gets it done here, but he gets better for it.
Yep.
Byrne brings up another point that complicates things. Depending on what happens with that Bayern Lokomotiv game, if Lokomotiv wins or is winning, and the games will be at the same time, Red Bull Salzburg has to be very careful not to fall out of the Europa League spot. They need the money.
True.
They need to get into the Europa League. It's very, very important. They can't fall all the way out of nothing. They'd like the even more money to get into the Champions League knockout round. That's going to be very difficult. I think there will be scoreboard watching. That's my caveat. If things get weird and he has to lock it down and play for a draw, I mean, Byrne says the smart move might be to play for a draw. It could be. If things get weird and they feel like they have to go for the draw, then maybe it changes. Let's say it doesn't get weird. Let's say Bayern's U15 team beats Lokomotiv, who knows what Lokomotiv's trying to do here, how much money they're trying to make under the table. Lokomotiv Moscow. But I'm going to go out on the limb.
How angry Jason remains about this.
Very salty. I will never pull for Lokomotiv Moscow again. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I am going to go with the favorite Christmas candy of... There's multiple states. Tennessee, Texas, Nevada, California, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas.
Yeah.
I think that's all of them. No, Kentucky
really
gets in there too.
For a loop right now.
Peppermint,
really for a loop
peppermint bark. Peppermint bark.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with. That's what I'm putting on Red Bull Salzburg. I believe in you, Jesse Marsch. I believe in you. But just like it happened with Lokomotiv Moscow, that can turn really fast.
Too, just not for tomorrow for 90 minutes.
Exactly, yes.
And through my research here, figuring out what candy to put on it, I figured out what's wrong with John.
Oh.
You wanted to put candy corn on something, and I thought that was ludicrous, and I think Jarrett did too, and other people did in the Twitch pitch. However, the favorite Christmas candy of the state of Alabama is reindeer corn. It is red, white, and green candy corn.
Oh, wow.
And it is the only state in the nation that likes it. No, New Hampshire does too. That's bizarre.
I'll have to ask the boss about this and get a ruling.
Reindeer corn. You said it. You're the one who went for it, so it must have been...
But I didn't know that it existed in this reindeer corn...
It must have been subliminal. You're putting candy corn on... You're putting candy corn on. Candy corn isn't a Christmas thing, but reindeer corn is. So you knew it was there. You knew it. Your Alabama things are rubbing off. I know. I got it. I figured you out.
I see you working. All
Still
right.
gross. Let's move on to Group B. Madness. Total, complete madness. Everybody's in play for everything. Inter, 4th place, 5 points. They host Shakhtar, 2nd place, 7 points. Real Madrid hosting Mönchengladbach. Real Madrid's in 3rd. Mönchengladbach's in 1st. Couple bullet points on these things. Inter, not good. Nicolo Barella and Arturo Vidal could be out. There were reports today that Barella suffered an ankle injury in training. I'll be evaluated tomorrow. Doesn't look good. Vidal did not train today. It looks like he's going to miss out due to a thigh injury. Antonio Conte could turn to sad Christian Eriksen, who is complaining about being sad because Antonio Conte is embarrassing him by bringing him on in stoppage time. I think he's played 6 minutes in the last 4 games. We're not going to start you and we're not going to play you and we don't even want you here anymore. But you got to go in and run around for 2 minutes.
Yeah, go run around.
Man, that's just bad. He might have to turn to sad Christian Eriksen. Real Madrid should be getting Sergio Ramos back. He has been training. He trained fully on Sunday. They've been very careful with him. They've not been good without him. 2-2-1 since Ramos' injury. Zinedine Zidane could be coaching for his job.
Yep.
If they do not get through, if they end up in the Europa League, Zinedine Zidane, actually, they might make him manage the Europa League games just as penance.
Yeah.
I mean, Real Madrid's basically been like, we don't want it. We don't want to play in that.
Could you just deny?
No, no,
it's like,
no, you can't. No,
like we don't want to go. We're going to rescind our.
No,
our
you would.
Europa
You would.
League
You
status.
if you wanted to play that game, you should get fined every bit of money you have in your bank account because that's an insult. J-Dub says I'm lying about the reindeer corn. By the way, I'll have to go back and check the website for.
I was going to say, what was your
certification.
source?
We'll do that in a minute. So let's start with the numbers for Inter hosting Shakhtar.
Inter and Shakhtar in Group B. Inter, big favorite, minus 345.
Wow.
Yeah. Shakhtar, a plus 870. And your draw is a plus 515. Remember, these are numbers in the aggregate, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal.
Okay, so Inter might be missing a couple of key players, might have to drag Christian Eriksen away from listening to Depeche Mode on a loop.
Yes.
And they're hosting Shakhtar, who, let's check in on our friends Shakhtar from Ukraine and what they've been up to as of late. So,
second in the table in the Ukrainian Premier League behind Dynamo Kiev.
They won 5-1 on the weekend. They beat Real Madrid 2-0 last time out in Champions League. They won their previous Premier League game before that. They lost to Mönchengladbach badly.
Oh.
They had a draw and a win in league play. They had a horrible loss to Mönchengladbach at home.
Yes.
But they've been winning in the league. So outside of playing Borussia Mönchengladbach, they've been pretty good.
Yeah. Their goal difference
Okay.
is minus 7 because of those two losses to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Borussia Mönchengladbach's goal difference is a plus 9 going in.
We'll go get to that one in a minute. Jarrett, Inter and Shakhtar, what you got?
I really want to see can we check in with Jose about Eriksen after he left Tottenham when we were watching All or Nothing?
Yes.
And just can we? Hey Jose, here's an update on him, and you just hear
cackling.
Yeah, you just hear you just look at pictures of Jose as the smile slowly forms on his face as we watch Christian Eriksen sit there and listen to "So You Had a Bad Day" on repeat.
No, Jose then just walks away. He smiles and then he walks away humming "Personal Jesus" by Depeche Mode.
I'm your own personal Jesus, Christian Eriksen.
God, I just imagine that Tottenham playing Inter for a second just to see the mind games you'd put that man through, just for his own enjoyment. As far as the game itself goes, I don't have a lot of faith in Inter on this one.
No, draw.
Gutless.
I'm trying to think what I would put on the what I would put on this for the draw, because the draw is about what I could get talked into.
You put that reindeer corn on the draw.
No, because I'm really excited if that's a thing, and I need to try it.
Okay, well then I'll put reindeer corn on the draw.
There you go, buddy. Lindt, Lindt.
Oh yeah, Lindt.
Yeah.
I could put those on a draw.
Go big or go home. I'm taking the generic chocolate Santas and putting them on Shakhtar to win. Sad Christian Eriksen is just sitting Indian style in the center circle for 60 minutes of the match.
That's great.
Very sad. Rocking back and forth. Shakhtar wins. That's my crazy pick, and it's the generic chocolate Santas. Real Madrid hosting Borussia Mönchengladbach. Things could get weird, so let's play this out. If Shakhtar beats Inter, then they would move to 10. Inter would be done. If Inter wins, they would go to 8. Shakhtar would stay on 7.
Yes.
There is a scenario if Inter wins and Mönchengladbach wins that Real Madrid is last place in the group. Yeah. Zinedine Zidane does not get out of the locker room without being fired.
He gets kiffined right there.
Luckily, they're at home, so there's no tarmac incident here. But yes, I don't think he makes it out of the building.
Get your Uber and get out of here, son.
Does the return of the man in Madrid, Sergio Ramos... What? No, not Becky Lynch. Does the return of Sergio Ramos give Real Madrid a lift against Mönchengladbach? Jarrett?
Oh, I think it does, but I think it is a matter of you're looking out the window and you're seeing your house burning down, but you think it's the dawn. I think they get a lift, but it's a very short-lived lift, and it doesn't really get better after that. It's we're going to get the energy to get up and fight one more round in the fight. You really should have stayed. Apollo Creed really should not have come out for the second round, y'all. And right now, and Sergio Ramos is going to show up and get Zidane through to the second round.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, if he dies, he dies, and Zidane might die. I do want that. I do want that to happen, though, now that you've spoken that into existence, Jason, where they get Europa League and they just make Zidane coach the Europa League games until he quits.
Ooh. Yeah, you're not with the first team anymore. Not in the league games.
Coach just the Europa League
you just got the Europa League games. That's all, Zinedine. That's all you get. Do you want to keep getting paid? Oh, you want to quit and not get paid? Okay, cool. That's fine. See ya. Does Madrid beat Mönchengladbach? I think they do. I think they rise to the occasion. I think it is a 1-0 nail-biter with Sergio Ramos winning it from the spot on an 85th minute penalty that is dubious. Real Madrid wins. And if those two results happen, then Mönchengladbach would go into the Europa League, which would be horrible. And I think Bernd is already cursing me out about that. But that's where I'm going to go. What are the numbers on Madrid and Mönchengladbach?
All right, so I'm going to build on this one a little bit. Borussia Mönchengladbach is a plus 395.
Okay.
Your draw is a plus 280.
I mean, you're building to something that's kind of obvious here.
Real Madrid's a minus 133.
Okay.
Not that big.
Yeah.
It's a minus, but it ain't that big.
Have you seen Real Madrid lately?
Oh, I know, yeah. I mean Olympiacos.
Have they seen themselves in the mirror? In shame?
Sadly, they have.
Olympiacos is a minus 123, to give you an idea.
Well, to give you an idea, Real Madrid went to Sevilla and got an own goal to win that. They lost in Ukraine to Shakhtar 2-0. They lost at home to Alaves 2-1 before that. They went to Inter, and Inter had a red card, and Real Madrid won 2-0. They drew at Villarreal. They lost 4-1 at Valencia. You're talking about 2-3-1 in your last 6 games. That's why they're only a minus 133. If they were looking like a competent team that knew how to do the soccer, they would be minus a lot more at home because they're the kings of this competition. Not right now. I think they find a way, and I think it is so Real Madrid burned. I agree. I think it is ridiculous, and it's one of those dodgy handballs, and it's Sergio Ramos from the spot late to win it. I think that's what happens.
You know what Real Madrid needs is a good matchup against Celtic right now. Lift their spirits.
We're getting there, Jarrett. Don't worry. We're getting there. One more group, Group C. It's Manchester City's all but won the group. They host Marseille, who finally won a Champions League game, by the way. Porto travels to Olympiacos. Olympiacos has to match or surpass the result of Marseille to qualify for the Europa League. I think they probably will. I think City wins. I think Porto probably wins, even in Greece. Well, give me the numbers on that one. I'm intrigued. Porto and Olympiacos.
Porto and Olympiacos. Olympiacos is a minus 123. Porto a plus 380.
Oh, wow. Maybe not.
And a draw plus 260. I'll take those Lints and put them on Porto.
Now I'm starting to be the since Nick's not here tonight, now I'm starting to think black helicopter style. Is there something to it? No, that's not a good thing. What's wrong with you? That's a bad thing.
Hey, if Nick and I tell you it's a black helicopter, it's probably a black helicopter.
Y'all are cynical. And
look what happened when we were.
Oh, speaking of black helicopters, I do have one for you. In the Campeón phase of the Copa Diego Armando Maradona in Argentina, just so happened that Boca and River got drawn into Group A. I mean, there was only Group A and Group B. There was only two groups, but just so happened that Boca and River end up in the same group. You know,
color me stunned.
Totally accidental, I'm sure. That'll be fun. So we'll get into that here in a bit. I'm not touching it with Porto. I don't trust them that much. So I think Olympiacos definitely gets into the Europa League spot. All right. Let's run through quickly. We're not going to go into detail like this on Europa League. It is the final match day of that on Thursday.
Thank God.
We're getting to your team. Don't worry. It's coming. Group A, Roma's won it. Young Boys should be okay. They host Cluj in the final match day. Young Boys, all they have to do is get a draw there to get through.
Didn't Cluj get rid of their coach?
Yeah. Welcome to
Yeah,
madness.
that was hilarious.
The guy basically was like, fire me, I want to leave, and it just took him a while to do it. Group B, Arsenal is through. Molde, actually it's a little tricky. They have to go to Austria to play Rapid Vienna. Now, goal differential, if Rapid Vienna wins, they would flip the goal differential. So Molde gets a draw, they go through. If Rapid Vienna gets a win, they go through. What are the numbers on that one? I'm intrigued.
Rapid Vienna plus 112, Molde plus 220, and your draws a plus 280.
Do I want to get squirrely on this? No, I think I think the favorite actually wins it. I think they go through. I think Rapid Vienna pulls it off. They only need a 1-0 win, right, Bern? Yeah, because of the goal differential. That's what I was trying to do the math in my head as I looked at it. They're both -2, and if you win, obviously you flip it, so you're good. I think Rapid Vienna pulls through. That'll be one to keep an eye on. That's got a little juice to it. That's an intriguing one. Group C, Slavia Prague and Leverkusen are both through. They're both on 12. They play each other to see who wins the group. They're both through. There's not a whole lot there.
I was going to say, does it matter?
No. Well, I mean, I'm not sure the Europa League draw. I think it does matter to win the group. You get a better potential draw. That final game is in Germany. It's at Leverkusen. They should get it done, and they should win the group. Group D, Rangers and Benfica. Both are through. They're good. Rangers are they ahead? I think they're ahead on head-to-head with Benfica. That's got to be it, right? Because they don't have a better goal differential. Head-to-head is the first tie-break, and they drew in Glasgow. But didn't Rangers go to Benfica and win, or am I crazy? No, they drew. So,
3-3.
Maybe they go to away goals in the head-to-head?
Yeah, because it's 5-5.
But Rangers scored more at Benfica. Now I'm wondering, maybe they don't have the little standings here correct on SofaScore that I'm looking at. Because Benfica has a +9 goal differential, and Rangers has a +4.
Yes.
So I don't know why they have Rangers in the number 1 spot. It's not even an alphabetical thing. I'm intrigued. But final match day, Jarrett's not favorite team, Rangers, has to go on the road to Lech Poznan, and Benfica has to go on the road to Standard Liège. What's the Rangers game numbers? Give it to me.
Rangers -156, Lech Poznan a +385, and your draws a +330.
Draw. I take the draw. Rangers are through. They might rest folk. I don't know that they would really need to. They got the league in pretty good shape as well.
but
What do they have coming up this
it might
weekend?
rotate things a bit just to give some of the young guys some run.
They go to Dundee United this weekend. Does that matter to them, Jarrett?
Probably not. I mean, look, they're in a position right now where they can, even if something went horribly wrong, like, I don't know, giving up a damn goal inside league play happened, they'd be fine. I think they've got so much cushion to work with, and not even just points, but mentality and the fact that the team behind them is a certified flaming dung ball right now. That I think they might rotate guys, but not necessarily just for rest. But you'll rest some of those legs, like Jermaine Defoe's 110-year-old legs. But
Yes.
Give some of the young guys a run out. They've got a couple of young, Scotland U21s that are talented guys.
We haven't
given them the opportunity to get out there, and even if you start guys, maybe go 50, 60 minutes with some key guys, if that.
You threw another shot at your team. We haven't got there yet. They're coming. Don't worry. We're getting there.
They've
Group
earned
E,
all of it.
they have. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Group E, you have Granada and PSV who are through. Granada has the 1-point advantage. PSV is at home on the final match day. Granada has to go on the road. I think PSV ends up winning the group there.
Yep.
Group F has a little juice to it. Group F, maybe the game of the Europa League final match day, is Napoli hosting Real Sociedad, who has hit a little bit of a stumble here, while AZ goes to Rijeka. So Rijeka's done. Forget it. They're not going anywhere. AZ is in third. Now, AZ just fired their coach because he was already talking about his job next year at Feyenoord. That's a problem. There's a little bit more on that because we saw that
That's
come
a Jim
out.
Mora move.
No, it was craziness because the coach at AZ, he was mentioned in the Dutch media as the favorite to take over for Dick Advocaat, who is saying he's going to retire at the end of the season at Feyenoord. What we initially saw was, okay, the AZ people were very angry. They fired the coach because he was considered the favorite. Well, it's come out that they've had conversations.
Oh.
So, yeah, you got to go. So now AZ, with new manager, has to go to Rijeka. Let's see what AZ did over the weekend. They lost to Groningen, and they had 2 red cards.
Wow.
Good times. And they're coming off a draw against Napoli in that last match. I think they are in shambles, and they are playing Rijeka, though. So are they in that kind of shambles? What did Rijeka do over the weekend? Let me look at the Croatian results from the weekend. Rijeka did win on the road, so they're coming in feeling pretty good about themselves. They have not lost in their last 3 in all competitions. They lost to Napoli before that. They won before that. So can Rijeka pull a result? I'm looking at the numbers. Rijeka is around plus 800.
Yeah, plus 750 in a composite. Yeah, and on AZ's minus 286.
I'm
You
going.
want to pull the trigger
in that territory of if someone gives me that number, I'm going to take it.
Yeah, I'm taking something I don't like, and I'm going to put on it. So
Damn straight, Skippy.
Worst Christmas candies.
Oh.
Because I got to pull the worst thing out and put it on this because it's Rijeka. Come on.
Yeah.
No offense to the Croatian powerhouses.
No offense to any Croat fans of the Croat League here.
No. These just sound
There are
horrible.
Christmas peeps.
That's pretty bad. I'm really tempted.
Yeah, I'd go there.
I'm a little sad that peppermint bark made it to number 9 on the candystore.com list. Reindeer corn is number 4. Peeps are 5. I'm going to go with the number 2 option, the Christmas nougat candy. Like totally generic. It looks like a fat poker chip from Vegas with a Christmas tree in the middle of it. It looks awful. It looks like something I would rather throw at somebody. I might have to throw it at Rijeka when they don't get the result. But I'm going to take that big number on Rijeka because I think AZ is in crisis.
That's very Chris Berman of you right there.
Yeah, it happens occasionally. The real game that matters here, though, is Napoli hosting Real Sociedad.
Yes.
Napoli's leading the group on 10. Real Sociedad is on 8. Again, I think it's another weird tiebreak situation where they are ahead of AZ because they are both on 8. The realistic way of looking at this would be AZ goes and gets a win in Croatia and goes to 11. So Napoli needs to win to make sure they win the group. Real Sociedad needs to win to make sure they advance. This could be a really, really good match.
Yep.
What are the numbers?
Napoli plus 106, Real Sociedad plus 245, and your draws a plus 267.
I get a +1. I get a plus anything on Napoli right now. I think they're still riding the raw emotion of everything going on after Maradona's passing. They have conceded 1 goal in their last 4 matches. They've won 3 of those. That was at AZ last week. I'm taking Napoli to win. I get a plus anything. I'm taking it, and I am putting the Reese's Christmas trees on it.
Wow.
Yep. That is the Christmas tree pick of the week.
Wow. I will take... I think Nick talked about the Napoli energy, like the Diego Maradona energy running out last week in the middle of the week or last weekend. I think it extends to this week. I think they found a little extra fuel in the tank. And, also having Gattuso probably helps kind of get you over the line there. I think they get over the line with a win. I don't know how confident I feel about it. So I'll put – and somewhere Mike Conti feels a ripple in the force and is probably like queuing up some anger at me, but I have not a lot of confidence in this, so I will drop a fruitcake on it. And I think Mike is actually a fan of fruitcake.
Well, but it's got to be a fruitcake that's been in your pantry for a while. It can't be one that you just picked up at the store.
If I'm not mistaken, Mike has talked about getting a good has spoken about the virtues of good fruitcake.
I
trust Mike on food topics. So,
I do. I can see we'll be talking about this week. Okay.
Yeah.
Add that to the topic list later on in the week.
I could be making that up. It could be one of those days where I was at the station from 4 a.m. and by noon I was seeing sound and was hallucinating everything that he said to me.
Could happen.
It could. I mean, at those points, I was spending my early mornings with Hugh Douglas. Anything was possible.
He was hearing colors and
Very
seeing
true.
sounds. It was amazing.
Shooter McGavin has given you a red card for the fruitcake, Jarrett. Just letting you know. Shooter's fired up, though. He had a bad day yesterday with New England Revolution.
Shooter, we just
Shooter, I jumped on the New England. I was on the New England bandwagon to win the whole damn thing.
I think we all
I'm not feeling as bad as you do, and I won't pretend I am, but I'm still sad for you because I wanted to see it happen. I wanted to see Carlos Heel as, playoff god, basically. That's what I wanted, and I want to see New England. That's the only team from New England that I really don't despise with every fiber of my soul, and then they just keep having their hearts broken.
Has Bruce Arena redeemed himself in your mind?
I never hated Bruce as much as Nick did. I was disappointed with everything he did with the national team, but I never really hated the guy. So,
So he didn't have to redeem himself.
So his legacies are separate to me. His club legacy didn't need to be redeemed, but his national team legacy, man, I don't know that that thing stays stained. I think.
Yeah, sadly.
That might be a cop-out, but that's how I feel.
I think if he wins an MLS Cup in New England, then there's no question about his legacy, period, across the board. If he pulls that off, anything else is... You can't complain about anything. That would be an amazing accomplishment. Shooter would be running through the streets naked, he said, if that happens. I hope Bruce can pull that off for Shooter to happen.
Just don't get arrested by a Dorchester cop.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful with that. That could go badly. So I think Napoli wins.
Yeah.
And I think Rijeka wins, which would mean that Real Sociedad would get into the knockout round if those results come. Shooter says Bruce is 70. It's over. Man, sorry. Shooter's very negative. Shooter is listening to Depeche Mode with Christian Eriksen now. All right, Group G. Leicester, 10 points. Braga, 10 points. They're both going through. That's even worse. You get a red card. So they're going through. There's nothing to even talk about.
I think we established that last week.
We did. He keeps trying.
Braga is unique and amazing and magical.
No, it's not.
Anything else is just... Nah, it's not it.
It's a parody of the first one.
No, it's all crap. That's what it is.
But it doesn't work for me personally.
It's garbage.
It's a no for me, dog.
It's garbage.
Shut
It's
up,
garbage.
Gundy, you got nothing.
Absolute
Get a haircut.
garbage. Group H. There's a team at the bottom of the table in Group H.
Uh-huh.
They have 1 point from 5 matches.
Mm-hmm.
They are a proud club. They're a proud club that's board is standing by its manager, who, just to update everybody,
Go ahead.
drew at home against St. Johnstone on the weekend.
Yikes.
I'm sorry, had to come back and draw.
Sorry, yes, true. Had to come back for a draw
the
at home against St. Johnstone. Went to Milan and came out all guns blazing, and then ran out of gas and lost 4-2.
Nick Leafy was so mad, and it was so amazing for 12 minutes. I was cackling at it.
Yes.
It was just...
Nick was so angry for the first 12 minutes, and then he was angry at the end because his 3-2 prediction almost actually happened, and we would have never heard the end of it. But it didn't because Milan added
We're still
one
not
more.
going to hear the end of it because we're not going to hear the end about how he was so close.
No, it'll fade because he didn't get it. It only has so much staying power. Let's get back to Celtic and get everybody caught up, just if you're thinking about betting numbers here. Before that, they were in the League Cup, and they lost at home to Ross County, 2-0.
Who lost 4-0 to Rangers the following week.
Yeah.
Good feelings gone.
Yeah, powerhouse Ross County. Before that, they went to the Czech Republic and lost 4-1 to Sparta Prague.
Saw that.
Still looking for a win. Let's go back to league play. November 21st, they drew 2-2 at Hibs. Hey, a win! They went to Motherwell on November 8th and won 4-1. That's over a month ago. Mm-hmm. Jarrett, what's going wrong with your team? What's happening here? And the board's saying this is all okay, and we're not going to do anything, and we stand by our man. They're Tammy Wynette at this point. What's going on?
They might be Tammy Wynette, but they pulled a Patsy Cline, flew right in the side of the mountaintop.
Jeez.
That's just,
wow.
God, that I did not want to even set that up. Man, that's horrible.
So is Celtic.
Well, yeah, but good grief.
Man, I said this last week, and I will reiterate it. Like, Celtic is what every pessimistic Atlanta fan, I think, what they were viewing Atlanta's front office as during the darkest days of 2020, which really weren't so dark in hindsight compared to everything else in the world. Celtic are emotionally and mentally broken at this point. The heat maps that came out of that game, I will share with y'all the heat maps from the midfield because it was like a 3-6-1 out there. I laughed because the heat map had like 4 midfielders. There was no real structure to the midfield. They were all just kind of hanging out on the right side of the field. They used to hang out all on the left side of the field, but they kind of decided to mix it up. They wanted to do something new. Also, Edouard, who scores like 2 goals a game when he goes to France's U21 national team. That's where he goes to escape because he just kind of sits up at the top and is on an island all by himself where no one loves him or gives him the ball. Their $3 million signing, David Turnbull, came in and in like 20 minutes was the man of the match, but can't get time on the field because, man, like, okay, imagine for a second, if you will, imagine Jeff Larinowitz was a club legend and was getting run out there 90 minutes, between 70 and 90 minutes every game, starting every game, but the legs are going, he just doesn't have it anymore. And the manager just keeps running him out there every single game. Because that's what Scott Brown is right now. And he's asked to be the engine, and it's not working. It's just bad. And the board came out. And they do this after every game where they come out and say, well, we're reiterating our confidence in Neil Lennon.
I can't believe they did that.
Don't put out a statement unless you're not giving him confidence. How about that? We're just going to assume going forward that you have confidence in him.
Yeah.
Because it would be news if you said you didn't have confidence in him and you said you would
you're trying to prove a negative at that point.
Yeah, because at this point, what they're doing is they've said, well, we'll reevaluate after the new year. I hate to tell you, the league is pretty much done at this point. If Rangers collapse at this point, you're talking like
Steven Gerrard defending.
Oh, buddy. I mean, worse than that, because, I mean, they have not only have they obliterated folks, they haven't given up a goal in the league, I don't think. They've just mauled people just mercilessly. And it's bad. It's very, very bad.
Let me ask you this, because the Daily Record threw a little bit of speculation out here, and it maybe makes a little bit of sense as to why the board is acting like eunuchs about this whole thing. In the statement, Celtic said they promised to review the situation in the next year. Now, that would give Neil Lennon an opportunity to win the Scottish Cup final against Hearts and kind of sort of have a treble, except it's separated, but they would hold all the trophies at the same time, so you can claim it. That's fine. And you'd get another derby against Rangers. The Scottish Cup one's the one that jumped out to me. Are you basically screwing up all of your results up until that to let Neil Lennon lift one more trophy?
Possibly. You're also, I don't know which game is first. I haven't looked at the schedule closely enough, and I apologize.
I'd forgotten about that game being rescheduled and all of that. They pushed it back.
Yeah.
It is.
Because
when is that thing set for? Do we know?
Yeah.
December 20th. I got it.
Okay.
When's the Rangers game?
The Rangers game.
I think it's before that then, because the 20th should be right before.
It's January 2nd.
Oh, God. That's always fun, too, in Scotland, because you have a winter break, because the Highlands basically turn into permafrost. Right. And you can't play on them. All the fields up there are turf because you can't grow the grass because it's just
I don't think they are this year. They play.
They have to play through. They have to.
Yeah, because they're hosting Lille. Then they host Kilmarnock on the weekend. That's the 13th. The Livingston game's been canceled on the 20th.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with that. Because they're playing Hearts. No, never mind. It's the Scottish Cup final because it got rescheduled. It pushed back from last season to this one. So that's December 20th. Got it.
The way this ends, in my mind, is
The
maybe
Rangers
you
game.
beat Hearts. Maybe you do. I don't have a lot of faith right now because it's like you have so much more talent than every team other than Rangers, but right now they just look so broken. And it just looks so bad. I don't know what they're going to do when Mohamed El-Anoussi has to go back to Southampton because he's the only guy who's consistently creating things other than Turnbull, who can't get time on the field. Let's say you end that with a win against Hearts for the Scottish Cup. His potentially last game is going to be against Rangers, and I'm here to tell you, as someone who watches the Old Firm, every game for the last 4 or 5 games have been progressively worse and tilted progressively more into Rangers' favor. I mean, comically so. Last time they played, Jason, you watched some of that game. John, yeah. I'm pretty sure you watched some of that game.
Yeah.
Celtic didn't get a shot on goal. Rangers were unbothered. It was an embarrassment.
It's horrible.
So you might hand him one more trophy, but his last game potentially then is going to be one last embarrassment at the hand of your most hated rival. Great job, board. Well, play that one out.
So a couple bits of speculation before we move on. Keith Jackson at the Daily Record is saying that he's got 7 more games that would take him up to the Old Firm match against Rangers on January 2nd.
Okay.
He's got that cup final in there. I think the cup final is the reason why they're keeping him for now. I think they feel like they have to give him the opportunity because it should have been last season to lift the trophy and win the treble and have his moment, but then it gets washed away when they lose to Rangers. Davey Provon has come out and said, former hoop star on local radio, I'd go for Roy Keane. What do you think, Jarrett?
I've heard that too. I don't know if that's the long-term fit, but if you ask him to get this season at least, on the tracks, because like I said, I think personally, and forgive me if I'm being overly pessimistic, but when you watch Rangers, you'd understand what I mean. I think your goose is cooked in the league. I honestly do.
Yeah, it's too big of a gap.
Yeah,
it's too big of a gap against a team that has shown no signs of slowing down in the league. You would have to maul them in the rest of your matchups against each other, and it sounds like if this is what's happening, you're punting one of those matchups.
Kind of.
And that would be an interesting one for the rest of the year. I don't know if he's the one you finish it out with, because the last time you kept you remember Neil Lennon was brought on as an interim manager when Brendan Rodgers left in the middle of the season. So actually do your research this time. And you know what? Like, when the time comes, please take another risk like you did with Ronnie Dyla. Like, Ronnie Dyla didn't work long term, but he made players better. He kind of dragged the club into the future, kicking and screaming, with more technology and fitness and changing diets and getting guys better. The results weren't there, but the long-term impacts were positive. Please go take a risk and go a little progressive here. Please don't become the Atlanta Braves where you're only pulling people within the organization.
Roy Keane's not that. I don't know if he's progressive.
No, I'm talking about the long-term choice.
I think if you go get Roy, I don't think Roy Keane takes it if it's short-term. I think he's going to want an opportunity to keep the job.
Roy Keane might actually try and murder, and would succeed. He might try and murder Steven Gerrard.
He might.
Well,
I'd be here for it.
That'd be headlines.
That'd be fun. That'd be good times. That's an intriguing one. I think the Scottish Cup final for sure, and then if the results are really bad, I don't even know if he gets to the Rangers game. But my gut is he gets to the Rangers game. But I think the Scottish Cup final is why they're holding on to him. No, there's no other reason. It doesn't make any sense otherwise.
Yeah.
The rest of the group, Lille is 1 point up on Milan at the top. They're both through. Milan goes to Sparta Prague. Lille is going to Celtic. Both are through. Milan, I don't know what they have in the league, if they have to be a little squirrely when they go to Sparta Prague. They host Parma on the weekend. Parma is 16th, so they could probably go for it. I think they go and try to win it, but I think Lille beats Celtic, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, just get it all over. I mean, get Europe over with.
I apologize
for me, because this has been the least enjoyable European season in years.
Group I, Villarreal's got it.
Let's talk about fun things.
Yeah, let's move on. Villarreal's got it, then 13 points. The game that is interesting is Maccabi Tel Aviv hosting Sivasspor. Maccabi Tel Aviv goes through with a draw. Sivasspor has to win on the road. That one could be a fun one to watch with something on the line here. There's a couple games like that in the Europa League. It's not quite as wild as I thought it might be coming into the last day. Group J, for example, Royal Antwerp is through. Tottenham hosts them. Lusk is behind Tottenham. I don't think they're out of it. I don't know if the tiebreakers would put them out of it. I think they'd have to have a massive result and turn it over. So they're pretty much out of it. I think Tottenham is all but through. They should be fine. They should get a result against Royal Antwerp at home anyway. And in Group K, Dinamo Zagreb is through. Wolfsberger from Austria is on 7. They host Feyenoord, who is on 5. That's intriguing. What are the numbers on Wolfsberger and Feyenoord?
Wolfsberger and Feyenoord, to answer your question. Wolfsberger plus 190, Feyenoord plus 130. Your draw is a plus 270.
Does Feyenoord get the bump from wanting to send Dick Advocaat out with a big run in the Europa League? I think they do. I think they go and win. Sorry, Wolfsberger. I am going Feyenoord. And in Group L, Hoffenheim is through. Red Star Belgrade is in second with 10. They are through. There's really nothing going on there.
Oh, I found out the answer when they started referring to themselves as FK Cervenia Zvezda, 2011.
Okay. And was there a reason for that? Or is that going to be another cliffhanger for next week?
No, that was just playing to. It was playing to the heritage, Serbian heritage. That was what it was.
Got it. Okay. Cool. So that is your UEFA update on the club side. Let's take a glance at the World Cup qualifying draw that happened today.
Hell yeah.
Doctor.
It's not really. I mean, why are you doctoring it? What's so crazy about it?
In a couple of groups.
So there's not that much to it, to be honest. Like because of the way the pots were set up. Like you didn't have two really top teams get in the same group. For me, Group G is the group of death. The Dutch, Turkey, Norway. I don't want to see a third-seeded Erling Haaland come beating down my door.
Yeah.
Montenegro, Latvia, Gibraltar are there. That's not an easy group for Frank de Boer and the Netherlands, who are the favorite there. Was there any other groups that stood out to y'all?
Well, I mean, you've got Group I with England and Poland. You've got Group C with Italy and Switzerland, Spain and Sweden in B, and Belgium and Wales in E.
Belgium should handle Wales.
They should.
I'm not too worried about that one. Can Finland pull another upset in France? They did it in a friendly. Can they do it in a game that counts? Group A, Portugal, I think, is fine. Serbia is the next highest seed.
Yeah.
Sweden can push Spain. If Sweden recalls Zlatan, that could be fascinating with Spain. Germany got the greatest draw they could ever hope to get with Romania, Iceland, North Macedonia, Armenia, and Liechtenstein. If Germany doesn't get out of that group and they kept Yogi Löw to not get them out of that group,
walk home.
Everybody on the board needs to put in their resignation when Yogi Löw loses to North Macedonia. Group H, you have four countries that have basically the same flag. Croatia, Slovakia, Russia, and Slovenia. Like, they're all incredibly similar.
So then I'm rooting for Malta then.
Yeah, go ahead and root for Malta. Byrne says Germany had frozen envelopes. Totally. 100%. Black helicopters. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. That's black helicopters for hell, yeah.
Give us a quick update on Scotland's chances in Group F, Jarrett.
Oh, so Scotland keeps finding Israel in the same way that the USA keeps finding Ghana in World Cups.
That's true. Got to qualify for that to happen again, though.
Yeah, but Scotland is kind of like the Scottish bloggers and journalists I've seen have been just like, we're not watching the game again. We can't do this again. We can't go through that again. No more, please. They don't want nothing to do with that. Man, maybe Scotland gets out of this in like the knockout rounds, but I don't favor them for it. It would be amazing.
Yeah, I don't think they do either. They got to get into second to get into the knockout.
Their high point is getting into Euro and the potential for a coronavirus vaccine that allows kids from Scotland to yell obscenities that you didn't know existed at Harry Kane.
I will be watching that from afar, but I will be thoroughly entertained by it, I am sure. The way it goes roughly, because the playoff format is a little different, you win the group, you go. The top-seeded teams all should win their groups. Somebody won't, but they should. The second-place teams, plus the best two group winners from the last Nations League that have not qualified directly or finished as a group runner-up. So the next two best Nations League teams that finished third or worse in this qualification process in their group go through. Right now, the ranking, if France has a horrible time and doesn't get even to second and they finish third, they would get in through the Nations League, at least to the playoff round. Belgium is next, Italy is next, Spain is next. Those would be unlikely. Wales is the next one. Now, Wales is the second seed in Group E. They should get second place, but maybe Czech Republic scares them a little bit, maybe. They would be next to get the rescue spot from Nations League. Austria is next. Now, Austria, which group are they in? I thought they were the ones who might get into the playoff round. That's Denmark, Austria, Scotland. So if Scotland does have a good qualification process and Austria falls to third, they should have a rescue from the Nations League group winners. Czech Republic would be next, and Czech Republic and Wales are both right here. One of them should get the rescue to go through. Byrne says Austria can win their group. I think they could. I think Group F is wide open. But they've both got rescues. Wales and Czech Republic, one of them should get the lifeline here. And then if you're going further down, it's Hungary who is next. And Hungary is the third-seeded team in Group I, which I don't know if they jump England or Poland. Yeah. So they could get through. Bernd is ready to fight you, Jarrett, and he says, no way that Austria loses to Scotland.
Oh, no. No, like I said, I don't think Scotland gets anything out of this.
You're not going to put any iron brew on it or haggis?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Just checking.
I want San Marino to score a goal in group play, and I can't wait to see the home games on the Faroe Islands national pitch.
San Marino will be playing England. They have one of the fastest goals on record against England in qualification for 1994. They lost that game badly after that, but they did score really fast. The Faroe Islands will be hosting Denmark, Austria, Scotland, Israel, and Moldova on their national pitch in Group F. All right, let's jump around some of the other news. Bayern Munich, I thought this was interesting. Hansi Flick talked about maybe changing the way they play a little bit for the last matches of the calendar year after giving up 3 goals to RB Leipzig. I hope y'all at least watch the highlights of that game. That was a really fun one. Bayern's given up 16 goals in 10 league matches. That's a little high for them. Flick said, last season we played the entire time with the same team. In this season we have to constantly change due to injuries, rotation. So the fine-tuning is not there, especially when we press high. He said that the high-intensity game has opened up some gaps. They've given up some goals they shouldn't. He said the coaching staff also needs to think about possibly adapting for the last 4 games of the year. The automation is missing also because there is no time in training to practice it. I thought that was really interesting that he came out and said that because they're having to change the lineup. Nobody's in sync. Like, it's not automation. It's not automatic. Like, they don't know what the players around them are going to do. It's not sharp. And they're giving up some goals badly. So, you add Javi Martinez, ruled out for the rest of the calendar year with a thigh injury. You might want to simplify it. Maybe not play as high of a line. I'll be curious to see if they can adjust. Because that's difficult. Because that's not how they've played. Can they dial it back a couple of notches? I don't know. But this Champions League game this week, that doesn't mean anything against the Locomotive. Maybe that becomes the opportunity for them to test it a little bit and be a little more vanilla. Might have to right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think you're right there. I think that you've got to figure out what you want to do for the end of the year, and this game might be that opportunity to do that and kind of, I'm not going to say sample things, but at least try to come out and sit there and say, okay, well, what if we do this and see if that helps you toward the end of the calendar?
It's going to be tough to do. It's just tough to change your approach, but we'll see if they can pull that off with these last few games left. Milan, I wanted to big up Nick on this one. They've got 8 wins in their first 10. That is the best Milan has been since 1954-1955. They're unbeaten their last 22 Serie A matches, a run stretching back to March 8th. They have not lost in Serie A since COVID. It's crazy. They've also scored in each of their last 30 league matches, which is a club record. What Milan is doing is really special, and Claudio Ranieri spoke about it this weekend where Milan won 2-1. Zlatan didn't play. He said Milan play good football. They move in a synchronized way to break down the defensive line. They look in good shape physically. You wouldn't have thought that they had played another game 3 days earlier. He said, I don't know if they are the strongest team in the title race, but there is a youthful lightheartedness that makes them do things that you might not do with more experienced players who tend to think too much. It's a really interesting look at Milan. They are a fun team to watch. Like if you're looking for random games because your team's not playing on a Saturday, Serie A's on, you don't follow the league super close. Milan is a team. They're a fun one to check in on. That's a good team that plays good soccer that you will enjoy. I recommend them. Milan, Napoli plays good soccer in Italy. They're fun to watch. You get Bayern or RB Leipzig or Dortmund, obviously, but if you're not big on Serie A, Milan is a fun one to watch. I definitely recommend them.
Lineups are out for Seattle and Minnesota, and it looks like there are no surprises on either side. Rolling with the heavyweights.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Thank you, Bill.
That's why we skipped it, because there's no lineup. There's no excitement in those lineups. It is what you would expect. We'll get into that game here in just a minute. Still in Italy, if you have not seen it, Mario Balotelli has a club. He is going to Serie B in Monza.
Monza.
Why would he go to Monza? Silvio Berlusconi, former Milan president, is the owner of Monza. Oh, yeah. Kevin Prince Boateng plays for Monza. Oh, yeah. The CEO, Adriano Galliani, says this. He assures Balotelli that this is truly the last, absolutely last, completely the last chance. I gave him a proper talking to and told him this is the last, absolutely last, completely the last chance. I do love Mario. He's a player with the kind of technical and physical qualities that should have allowed him to do so much more with his career. There were flashes of exceptional quality, and I can't understand why he can't even get better. After all, he is only 30 years old. They gave him a 6-month deal. He is under contract to June 30th, to the end of the year. He is 30 years old. He did not have a deal since the end of the last season. Reportedly, and they said it, so I guess it's not reportedly, I guess it's accurate, Vasco da Gama in Brazil offered him a contract. He did not take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He is going to Monza.
I remembered that it was the debate of Vasco da Gama and Monza. So, all right, here's your shot. Looking at Serie B and seeing where could he debut? Okay, he could debut 4 days from now at Venezia, and they're screaming a draw for that particular match.
Well, he's got to pass the medical first, and
True.
We'll see where that goes. Winterwind says, Mario Balotelli to MLS in the summer, confirmed. Nah. No. I don't think it happens at all. I don't think this goes well.
Not even to Montreal and Thierry Henry?
They could have signed him in the last 6 months. Or at least the last 3 or 4. Maybe 5. They didn't. Why would you sign him now? I'm just not expecting anything. I don't think he has the motivation to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Wouldn't touch it.
Yep.
Barcelona. Our regular Barcelona update. Why are we talking Barcelona?
We need like a sounder for that.
No, we don't. They lost 2-1 to Cadiz. It was a horrendous goal to give up. If you have not seen how Barcelona gave up the winning goal, it was on their own throw-in, and they conceded a goal. Awful. Just awful, awful, awful. Barcelona had 82% of the possession. So Jamie Carragher would be yelling about possession and purpose and all that. This is the worst Barcelona has been after 10 games since 1971. Winterwind, I hope you heard that. Worst since 1971. No team has won La Liga from so far behind. They are getting trash-talked by opposing managers now after games. Alvaro Cervera, the Cadiz coach, who defeated them, he said, I don't want to act smarter than anyone, and we had good luck, but if you analyze Barcelona a little, they're a team of 1-2, short passes. Messi comes deep. When they get wide, they bring it back again. You get the typical move from Messi and off the right, and Jordi Alba appears on the left. So, close the middle, leave the wings free. We had the good luck that Dembele didn't come on or any pure wingers. Dembele is one of the few that gets to the byline. But you see Coutinho, and it's a relief. You have the problem of a shot from the edge of the area, but it's easier to defend. He continued. Cervera continued. Messi was more participative than other occasions. I could see his desire to win. He came deep for the ball, made them play. He didn't look bad. When I called players over to have a word, most of the instructions I gave were about Messi. When Dest went off, it surprised me. He's quick, incisive. When they put Trincao on, we knew they would come inside even more. We knew he had a chance. Barcelona need the ball. We don't. He just absolutely broke Barcelona down in complete, total detail.
Yeah.
Barcelona came into this game as well. First, Cadiz has beaten all the big teams so far. They're having a great year, and they're staying very realistic. They're saying they want to stay up. They are even though where they are in the table, they're in a good spot. They're talking about, we want to stay up. We want to make sure we can do these things with fans in the stands next year. I thought that was a very cool attitude to have. Barca comes into it on Saturday. Their interim president, and Sid Lowe from The Guardian just shredded this. He said, their interim president, whose job it is to oversee elections and pretty much nothing else, he said publicly before this game, there's no money, the roof is falling in at the stadium, and it's all they can do to stay afloat until June. They also heard him say it would have been better to have sold Messi in the summer, which is what Messi wanted, but was denied. Messi didn't want any of this. Nobody wanted any of this. That is where Barcelona is right now. I did not know the roof was falling in at the stadium. That adds to the fun. What also adds to the fun is Miralem Pjanic. He gave an interview. Played in his former club, Juventus, right? Pjanic has started all five of the group games in Europe. One start in La Liga. 5 times off the bench in La Liga. He said he can't understand why he's not seeing more game time this season. So now you're getting players coming out and talking about Ronald Koeman. Koeman was kind of flailing for excuses after the game. It's been so bad for him. 16 losses in 32 games in La Liga, period, including his time at Valencia. It has not gone well. There are big issues there that have nothing to do with Ronald Koeman. He's not making them any better. I think he's making them worse at this point. As Burns says, Griezmann is playing well. He's been doing a really good job here lately. Coutinho's not. Winterwind says it's a dumpster fire. Burns says Pjanic isn't playing because he's awful. I mean, it's all a mess. Barca, it's like they find new things. When I think we have hit the depths of what bad Barcelona is, they find somewhere new to go. And I mean, I'm almost in a sick way impressed with how bad they are because it's so bad. But they're going to get through in Champions League. They're going to get that money they need to. They host Levante on the weekend.
Minus 400.
Well, yeah, they probably should be. Levante is 17th. If they can't beat Levante at home, Ronald Koeman might need to be looking for a change of address for him. They host Real Sociedad on the 16th. They host Valencia on the 19th. They go to Valladolid on the 22nd. They host Eibar on the 30th. What?
It's just festive fixtures. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, everybody's playing these games. That's nothing new. But the problem is they don't have any depth right now. The problem is where they're stuck. Like, it's just it's horrendous. And you've got those games that could really screw you up with Real Sociedad in there. Valencia's been competitive at least. I mean, I don't know who Barcelona's favorite against anymore. Again, to give you a sense of it, now there's a lot of teams between them. And La Liga is completely bunched up in the middle. But they're on 14 points. They are only 4 points clear of a relegation slot. That's madness to think of with Barcelona. I mean, we talked about Arsenal being in that kind of thought. Barcelona's 4 points ahead of it. Now, there are a bunch of teams in between, but still 4 points. That's scary.
Yeah.
On top of the financial issues. I don't know. They've got a ton of games before they have a presidential election.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to make some decisions in January soon. I mean, they're not paying their payroll this month because they can't. Yeah. The way La Liga is structured, they pay twice a year. It's kind of weird they do it like that, but they can't afford to pay it right now. So when you see players maybe look like they're not playing so hard, these are the things you got to keep in mind. Now you're also getting the Lionel Messi to PSG, Lionel Messi to Manchester City. Juan Mata's like, hey, if you're coming to Manchester, come to Manchester United. It's going to get weird quickly because Barcelona could use any kind of a check in January.
Mm-hmm.
This interim president, Tusquets, I guess he's got the power to do it. There's a lot of January before that election on the 24th. I wonder if somebody makes an offer that Messi pushes for and they can't navigate. Like, I keep going back and forth on this, but the situation feels like it keeps getting worse and more dire. Like, in his heart, I think Lionel Messi, first he wanted to go because he thought it was best for the team and best for him. He didn't get that opportunity. So now I wonder, and I don't know where his head is.
Yeah.
In his heart, I think he would want to fix it, and he would want to always be with Barcelona. His head has to be screaming at him right now, get out while you can.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can engineer a move. I don't know how this is going to go, but it could get so bonkers early in January when the transfer window opens because you're going to have those other teams wanting to get a deal done soon. I mean, especially if you were talking to Manchester United, and they've got cash. I mean, that's the thing, is like Manchester City makes the most sense. It'd be a complete wild card for him to go to Manchester United. But if you're Manchester City or Manchester United, you're fighting in the league. And if you bring Messi in, that could change everything. You can't have him for Champions League, and that's the drawback, is he's competition tied to Barcelona. So if he moves, he's not playing for you in Champions League. But PSG, having him for the league, would they really care? Not really. City or Manchester United? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Winterwind brings up a good point. If they do a fire sale, which they're possibly going to have to, they don't have a cushion to stay up. And if you've got to make a fire sale happen, then you bring relegation really into play. That's why these next few games are vital. You need to build a cushion. But you're also not paying your players this month. And it's like there's so much. It's all crazy. I'm still kind of blown away that Sergiño Dest went there. And he talked about how it was a dream to play for Barcelona. I don't think this is the same Barcelona, but I get it. J-Dub asks if he's happy to be there. I don't know how he could be. He's not going anywhere.
Right.
A bunch of other people might, but he's not going anywhere. He just got there. They're young players, and Burns says are good enough to keep them up. I agree. They should be good enough, but you're just bringing so much risk into it. It's scary. I don't know what it looks like. As weird and crazy and scary and bad and comical it has been over the last 3-4 months, it could get worse by the time we get to the presidential election on January 24th. I don't know what happens.
No, I don't either. Next 3 matches, Barcelona early juice boxes. They're favored in all of them.
Yeah, they should be.
Big.
Real Sociedad's a surprise.
Barcelona is a minus 167. This is an early line for a game next Wednesday. Barcelona minus 167 at home against Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad is a plus 415 on the road going to Barcelona next Wednesday.
That's going to be a weird one. I don't know what happens with Barca. Let's wrap up with the game that's about to start, Seattle and Minnesota. This is going to be on FS1. The broadcast starts at 9:30. I have not seen kick. I don't think it's going to be 9:40. Okay, I don't think it's going to be too crazy. So we'll be done by then.
For a second, but good. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking it might get nuts. Lineups are what you would expect. The big names are playing. Minnesota's keeping the same lineup that has gotten them 6 goals in the postseason and conceded zilch. Seattle does not push Gustav Svensson right back into the lineup. Probably smart. Osvaldo Alonso returning to Seattle. That's a big story. These are the things he's going up against, though. Seattle's won 13 straight at home in the postseason. That's an MLS record. Nicolas Ladero has been involved in at least 1 goal in 7 straight MLS Cup matches for Seattle, one shy of the league record set by Carlos Ruiz, 2002-2003. Is this a game for you guys, and I'll start with you, Jarrett, that does it come down to a tag team match, Reynoso and Molino against Lodero and Rui Diaz? Jared has to continue to think about it. What about you, John? What do you think?
I think so, even though I know that I have my Nuhu Tolo bingo card ready to go at any moment.
Why would you want that?
Wow.
One of the most overrated players that I've ever seen. I don't get it.
And it's just, I know that he's capable of the nutmeg, he's capable of a walkabout, he's capable of a red. And so I'm waiting to see how much of my Nuhu Tolo bingo card gets filled out. But we've seen Dane St. Clair, I think it's 8 clean sheets in his last 15 games, come in and done really well. Stephen Fry, battle-tested this time of year. I think it is how these tag teams go up against these defenses in this particular go-round. That's just what my gut tells me, although I'm going to hold Nuhu Tolo off to the side as a possible wild card, not in a good way for Seattle.
Jarrett, what are you thinking about this one tonight?
Okay. So, if you remember the Minnesota Sporting Kansas City game, Minnesota took about, 10, 12 minutes to turn the engine over, really, in that game? Sporting Kansas City had chances. I think they're going to have a spell in this game again where, they kind of hit a lull for 10 minutes or so. Problem for them is I think Seattle's a team that punishes those chances. Like someone doesn't close down Rui Diaz from 20 yards out and he hits a worm burner that scoots into the corner. Something along those lines. Like it's just a Kansas City team missing their striker was one thing. Seattle, when they've got everybody, Minnesota can't have that 10-minute letdown where they kind of let you. You kind of look at him and you're like, how the hell? What are you guys doing? They can't have that.
No, they'll get punished if they do. This is a really tough one for me to make a pick here because I've expected somebody to knock Seattle off. They haven't. I didn't expect Minnesota to get here. They have. I think Minnesota has played the best soccer of anyone in the Final Four. I think they have been the best in the playoffs in the Final Four. Is that going to be enough? Because they're going to have to be even better tonight in Seattle. And I don't know if they can find another level. I know some people are already talking about Minnesota has shorter rest. I don't think that comes into play because we're not talking about how they've played a ton of games in the last month. You had that 2 weeks off. I think you can navigate that and be okay. Can Minnesota be even better than they've been? I don't know if they can get better.
Yeah.
They've been so good. I don't think there's another level there. Seattle has been good enough. They're going to have to be better than they've been. They have not been, out of the Final Four, I think they've played the worst of the 4 that are at this stage. But I think they're the most complete team left. They have to be better than they've been. Minnesota has to be even better than they've been, which is the best they've ever been in the franchise's history. Right. I just don't think Minnesota can pull that off. I don't think they can get to that next level to be an MLS Cup contender and winner. I think they've hit their ceiling. I think they give Seattle everything they ask for tonight, though. I think it could be a classic. I'm going 3-2 Seattle.
Okay. I was going to give you the Velvet Driving Slipper Lock of the week and go 2-1.
Okay.
I don't hate that. In fact, I was thinking I'm really tempted to go 1-0 Seattle in a game that Minnesota just can't find it. And Seattle punishes them in one of those moments where Minnesota just shows weakness for a 7-minute stretch, and that's it. And then, Seattle's able to play it tight. And I haven't necessarily, I'm the same way. I haven't been, Seattle hasn't been the best team to me. But they know what to do in these games, and Brian Smetzer knows exactly what to do in these playoff games, these high-stakes games. And it is, as cliche as it is, they've been there before. And, man, I'm gritting my teeth when I say that, but they've been there before.
It matters in the postseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely it does. They know how to – they know, where is the limit. They know where the limit is. They know what they can do. They know what they can't do. They know how to play the moments. They know how to play the highs and lows of the game. Every new step for Minnesota is a new experience that they haven't dealt with before, and it's awesome for Minnesota. It's great that they're here. They'll be better for it. I don't know. I don't think they get to MLS Cup this time. I think they're better for it, though, and I think that team is here to stay.
Yeah.
I have serious questions about Seattle's future.
Which I think could actually help them,
leading.
though. But I think in right now that could help them. It could give it that last dance kind of feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I have a lot of questions about what Seattle does going forward. About what is this? Is this their last dance thing? I don't know how much is left for them going forward, so we'll see.
It's going to be interesting. We didn't even get into Copa Libertadores tonight. Thank you for the reminder, Bernd. It's a little weird because Boca and Inter are going into the second leg of their round of 16 this week, but you have the quarterfinals set to start in the series that are set to start. We'll talk about it each morning on the show this week. Libertad is hosting Palmeiras tomorrow night, 7:30. Gremio is hosting Santos on Wednesday at 5:15. Second leg of Boca and Inter, and it looks like Wanchope Avila is going to be out for a little while for Boca. That'll hurt him. I think Boca still finds a way through Inter. That's Wednesday at 7:30. That's second leg of the round prior. And then the last of the first legs of what's already sealed is River hosting Nacional on Thursday at 7:30. We'll talk more detail about those each morning as we go, but the first one is up tomorrow with Libertad, Tito Villalba's Libertad hosting Palmeiras. He came back from injury, and he played, and he scored a goal, and then he got hurt again. And I don't know if it's just working his way back in or if he actually got re-injured again. And he's just been so in and out of that team. It's been a little bit hard to follow. Libertadores, the games to watch, in this round for me, the Boca Inter second leg, because it's a second leg. River Nacional could be really, really interesting. Gremio Santos, because it's two Brazilian teams. And anytime you get to that point, it can be pretty fascinating. But Boca, Inter, and River Nacional are the two games this week that I'll be really zeroed in on. Sudamericana is also this week. Defensa y Justicia is playing Bahia, and the first leg is on the road. We'll get into those each time this week as well. So what we're going to do, this soccer over there is going to conclude. We're going to, if you're listening to us on the audio live on the app, if you're listening to us on the website, that is going to shut down. I'm going to keep the Twitch pitch open for a little while. A lot of people were asking about a watch-along. I don't know if we're going to make a full watch-along out of this, but I'm going to keep at least the chat open for a little while. I'm going to shut the audio down for a minute because I need to refill. I need to get something to eat.
Yes.
I'm going to keep it open, though. We can chat along on the keyboards, and I'll stay connected. And if something happens, I'll pop back on with audio at least, and we can do that. So thanks to everybody for listening. Nick will be back with us next week, hopefully. Jarrett, thanks for chiming in. Where are you from today? It sounds like you were jingling coins at different points.
Oh, I was running errands all over town.
It sounds like there's this like little like shaking noise. It sounds like you have a bag of coins with you.
No, that might have been the turn signal. Like, so here's how this night went. I jumped on the show. I went out to Tiny Bubbles in Marietta to get a bubble tea for my wife.
Very nice.
Stopped by to pick up dinner for her because she was putting the tree up while I was working today, so we made food for the little one, and then stopped to pick up something for her, then dropped that at house. Went to the most clutch store in the universe, Big Lots.
Nice.
To pick up a couple things, then came home. All during this show.
Not bad.
Well done.
I multitask.
Not bad.
I'm never tied to one place. I'm never tied to one spot. I feel like more than 5 minutes at a time.
That's some
It's
good
terrifying.
multitasking. I'm impressed. We'll be back in the morning for a normal show. We will kind of give a little bit of we'll definitely give a recap of what happens tonight in MLS. But Don Garber is giving the State of the League address tomorrow afternoon. We'll talk about anything coming up from that. Plenty to talk about this week. There's not been anything else about Gabriel Heinze just yet. Nothing else about Greg Vanney in terms of where he's going to land. There was actually some cold water put on it from the folks at The Athletic about he hasn't spoken with the LA Galaxy. So very, very interesting. We kind of all thought that was a slam dunk. Maybe not. So what does that mean for everything going on? There's also in the update at The Athletic from Sam Stejkal and Paul Tenorio, discussion about what the CBA ramifications could be of everything going on pandemic-wise, start of the season on time, or do they hold it back, or is there a fight over that? Definitely an update you need to check out to get kind of caught up on everything MLS-like. And it'll be important with Don Garber speaking tomorrow. I wonder if he will talk about the start of the season. I wonder if he will talk about the challenges of the pandemic. We'll kind of give you a little bit of a preview of what that could look like in the morning. So thank you, everybody, for listening to the Soccer Over There. Thanks for joining in the chat. Thanks for tweeting at us. Thanks for listening and sharing the word. We really appreciate it. We're going to shut down Soccer Over There. If you are listening separate and you want to come chat, come over to twitch.tv/soccer down here, and the chat will be open, and I'll pop back on with audio here in a little while. But thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good rest of the evening and enjoy some MLS playoff action.